For the finest in vinyl siding, rain gutters, overhangs, storm and replacement windows, even patios and decks, trust in the experts at Ultimate Siding and Gutters. In addition to being licensed and insured, our technicians are also friendly and courteous, performing hassle-free service and installation at affordable rates. Plus, we provide free estimates for commercial and residential structures. Our entire staff will exceed your expectations. For the ultimate in siding, gutters, and much more, call Ultimate Siding and Gutters today.
After an off week, we land here at Nashville Super Speedway. Thank you guys for joining us here at SimTrax Broadcasting. Jacob Reeves joining alongside me here tonight, and we've got a wild one here tonight at this concrete track. 1.3 miles, if I do believe so. This tri-corner track has been very, very tough, but not as tough on tires as you would think. Many drivers are figuring out how to be able to hold the track together, hold these tires from obliterating out there on the track, and just holding off that tire wear as long as absolutely possible. Jacob Reeves, you know, this is, I guarantee it, probably one of your favorite tracks. Talk to me a little bit about it here and what we're getting ready to see.
Well, Patrick, the reason that I love this track is because it is a challenge. You talked about this track being 1.3 miles. It actually would look like basically a Kansas type track from the way it is shaped. But it is not. It is not asphalt like Kansas. Straight up concrete all the way around this track. Obviously, a little bit of asphalt right down on the apron, pit road, all that stuff. But this track with the concrete is similar to like a Dover. So you're taking Kansas and Dover, mixing them together, and that's what you're getting. Very, very fast track right here. these corners are going to be really tough on these guys to be able to try to keep their car up under them. We talk about this every single week, talk about the money shifting. You're going to see some of that tonight. You're going to see some of these guys getting off turn 2, getting a little bit squirrely, trying to keep that sucker straight, getting off turn 4. That's going to be the tricky one right there is turn 4. Turn 2, you can kind of save it. Turn 4, watch out for that money shifting because right there is where you're going to see a bunch of them try to save their car, but some of them might not be able to, and some of them might just spin it straight out.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's definitely going to be on the mark here for tonight. But speaking of on the mark, right now, Jeremy Burns, last week, well, actually a couple weeks ago when we were at Sonoma, Jeremy Burns actually won that race in front of Justice Murphy with some great battling there toward the end. But Jeremy Burns comes out here and scores on the pole here so far. A couple of drivers still have an opportunity to reach out there and grab him. Right now, Jeffrey Israel, I know he's one of the drivers in that number 6 Ford, trying to see if he can get a little more speed out there. Jeremy Burns was first, Justice Murphy was second, and of course, Trevor Earhart ended up third in that race. But these guys are trying their darndest to get toward the front here and start in the front. You know, how critical is it to stay, you know, to start in the front and not be back here, 15th on back?
Well, I mean, you're really worried about that track position, honestly. I mean, you want to have a very, very good qualifying run to be able to be at the front and be not have to burn your tires up that much. Like you said, Patrick, talking about saving that tire wear. You want to be up front. You want to manage this race, dictate this race. You want to play this race how you want to play it. You don't want to have to start trying to chase people because it's one thing when it's on asphalt. Concrete's completely different. I've actually done previous concrete work, and I know how concrete is. So concrete, very, very rough on tires. So real big for Jeremy Burns. And now Tate McDonald, out of nowhere, 2/100ths of a second, beats Jeremy Burns right here in qualifying. Tate McDonald, one guy that probably, I guess you could say, would have had a better run last week. Wished he had a better run last week. Coming out of nowhere tonight, grabbing the pole here at Nashville, Patrick. That right there, like I said, you want to be in the track position seat. Tate McDonald just took that.
Yeah, and talk about, I wouldn't say an upset, just, man, not what you would expect. Him just, boom, out of nowhere, going ahead and scoring on the pole. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at our starting lineup here for tonight as we got, these guys are getting loaded up in here on pit road. Tate McDonald, Jeremy Burns will start and be on row number 1. Row number 2 on the inside will be Grant Thorpe, sponsor of the race, in the number 77, sitting third next to Devin Hudgens. Hopefully Hudgens keep that 84 Chevrolet alive here tonight. He's been having a lot of bad luck lately, so a top 5 start is perfect for him. Trevor Keith will be 5th next to Nick Alves, who unfortunately lost the bracket race to Kevin Orlando. Kevin Orlando actually not here in the top 10. He'll be a little farther back. Alex Forget is sitting 7th next to Dylan Smoot. Robert Rader on the inside of row number 5 next to Matthew Robinson, the number 1 machine. Hopefully Matthew Robinson has been missing here for a little bit. Now coming back here at Nashville. Glad to see after this off week he's been able to recollect himself, get back onto the track. Travis Gilbert will be starting 11th next to Chris Schaefer. I got to admit, this track is bringing a lot of drivers we haven't seen back to the track. Really, it's great to see. Jacob, go ahead and take the rest of our field, my man.
All right, well, you got 13th. You got James Loveland, one of those guys that we could probably see be able to sneak up there and get a hold of this race, possibly even win a couple stages, possibly win. You know, we've seen James Loveland do some crazy things. If I'm not mistaken, he was actually the winner at Dover, if I'm not mistaken, Patrick. That's a concrete track as well, just like this right here. So that's going to be really key to watch that 0-2. Kevin Orlando, you just talked about him. Running back there in the 14th spot, starting there. John Fike going to be in 15th position. Jeffrey Israel Jr. going to be in 16th. Parker Johnston. If I'm not mistaken now, it was 2 weeks ago, Patrick. But Parker Johnston actually had a very good run at Sonoma. Starting 17th tonight, maybe he can rebound from where he's at for this qualifying. Blake Cook going to be 18th. Trevor Earhart back in 19th spot. That's going to be a real tough hill to climb for Trevor Earhart. Brandon Dunford going to be in 20th. Then you got Justice Murphy coming off that second place finish 2 weekends ago at Sonoma, going to be 21st. Grant Turner going to be 22nd. Caleb Gilbert, Brandon Richardson, Jacob Sirkovich, and that is going to be it. Wayne Lowe, also one of those guys back here in the back as well. He's going to be the caboose on this 26-car field here tonight, Patrick.
Oh, yeah, Ted Rekich there in the number 26. I know we are going to mention him for a little bit. Do want to give a shout-out to our wonderful race control here tonight. He'll be in the 999 machine. That will be sitting up there in the tower. Hopefully, he will be able to have his eyeballs all over this track because he has got to be have his eyes peeled here. There are so many drivers going to be trying for the same exact position out here tonight. But let's see Barney with the green flag in the air, and away we go to start the Music City 200 here at Nashville Super Speedway.
And a wreck already on the front stretch. Jeffrey Ayers will get caught up in it. It's going to be a caution on the speedway. A little bit of a stack up around the Matt Robinson area. Just sent Jeffrey Israel around. Not what we wanted to see, not what some of these drivers wanted to see right here at the start of this event.
Yeah, Brandon Richardson looking like he almost has the worst of it here as he's sliding in and around pit road. Hopefully he's able to get back out there. I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure what happened here. That definitely, that was pretty quick here. Let's try to take a roll back here and see what happened to here on the start.
Yeah, I think it happened around the 84 car up in the 4th position. Devin Hudgens looked like he tried to get up on the back of Jeremy Burns' back bumper, stacked them up behind him. Nick Alves behind him and everybody else, and it was just one of those domino effects all the way straight to the back, and it just ran straight in to Jeffrey Israel, and Jeffrey Israel was one of them that got the worst of it. Not only him, but Brandon Richardson as well.
Yeah, the stack up here where Blake Cook looks like he gets in the back of Israel here. We're taking a look at it here during the replay. Clink right there on the edge. Israel goes around, collects Blake Cook. Man, that is not what you want to see right at the beginning. I mean, just so tough to see these guys just start the race like that. I mean, some of these guys are just like, dang, man, what just happened? I mean, just a terrible formation lap. We'll see if they decide to re-rack them. Guys coming down pit road now, some of the guys who may have been involved, or coming in for a quick splash of fuel. So this actually might be a genius idea to come in, throw in a little extra fuel to extend the laps about 3 to 4 here and try to see if they can squeeze out as far as they can. I can't say that it's a bad call to come in here and get, take a splash of fuel and get back out there.
No, it's not a bad idea to come in and get that. I mean, even though we're 3 laps in, I mean, just a splash, you've already got the advantage already on the likes of Taylor McDonald, Jeremy Burns, Grant Thorpe, Devin Hudgens, all those guys, Trevor Keith. I mean, you basically got an advantage already over those guys. So that, I like the call. Would have been crazy to see them take tires right there, but nobody did, thankfully. Everybody just went in and got that splash of fuel. So they've got the upper hand as of right now. Everybody on the same set of tires that they started the race on, obviously, but these guys may be able to, if they can save, not do that money shift and probably keep it in 5th gear. If they can make it all the way around the track in 5th gear, they'll be able to save some extra gas and go longer. And what that's going to do is the guys that is going longer than the other guys, they're going to have the fresher tires as opposed to the guys that go early. So I like this strategy call, just like you said, Patrick, by some of these guys going topping off. Some of these guys, here they come again, topping off once again, just getting more fuel, just packing it more and more and more, just getting it full. That way that they won't have to worry so much about the fuel deal, and it'll help them later on in the race.
Yeah, I do want to make a mention that some penalties are being served tonight. You may have noticed that Alex Forget started in the back after being involved in an incident last race, and Caleb Gilbert as well. Both those guys will be in the back of the field. Caleb Gilbert now sits 19th as these guys re-rack him to get going again, and Alex Forget now to 22nd as these guys are having even more trouble. I believe Ryan Twinham may be also in a little bit of hot water there as well. But he's not actually out here onto the track. Checking out there in the chat, bunch of guys out there, especially Stellas. Appreciate you joining us here in the chat. Daniel Holloway, I see you out there on Facebook. I see my wife is out there, and Kristen. So here's what she has to say. Jeff cannot catch a break. He is wrecked by someone every race. And does he have a target on his car? Does he need a new paint scheme to make him more visible? You know, I would almost say that might be an idea. But he's got, you see that highlighter, you know, color on his car. You would think that would be enough for people to see him. But he just, I don't know. Justice Murphy last season was exactly like this in his last race last season. He could not get, he got wrecked out probably 18 races out of that season. Came back 1-2, but before they got into the end of the before they got into the playoffs, and he was able to, you know, kind of resurrect the remainder of his race. But I give it to Jeffrey Israel, you know, that fourth runner-up there for Element X Racing. You know, he's just able to try to see if he can yank out just a little more here and try to contribute to the team. It's just unfortunately he keeps getting hammered out and just can't survive here, man. I just don't know if there's going to be anything left for him to race and keep going here. Blake Cook is down pit road. Right now, he's sitting about 5 minutes in the box here. You know, you think his race might be done here?
Well, I mean, it's too early to tell, honestly, Patrick, because we didn't even get a lap in, to be honest with you. So we still got plenty of time to see what can happen and see what happened. I mean, obviously down 2 laps as of right now, but it's still early in the race. But if he's been down there for 5 minutes, something's up.
All right, green flag is back out. Tay McDonald going to try to restart this one. Couple of drivers back there blinking. I think James Loveland having a little trouble in that O2 machine. Not quite sure where he is, but Tay McDonald much happier about this start as he gets to dive into turn 1 for the first time into the lead on lap number 6. Moving on through. Tay McDonald, Grant Thorpe, Devin Hudgens, 1, 2, and 3. Hudgens under fire there by Jeremy Burns. But Jeremy Burns, the mountain man on the outside, is really what's the key line here tonight? And where, you know, is it a low line, is it high line, or is it right in the middle?
It's going to be right on the bottom. You don't usually see a lot of high line racing, especially on the sim. Now you will probably see it in real racing in the middle or close to the top, but where I felt that the most speed and the best place to be able to save your tires is going to be right smack dab on the bottom of the track. You see, that's the same line right now that Jeremy Burns is running. Right smack dab on the bottom as he goes straight around Devin Hudgens to move up in the orders. So some guys can make that middle lane work, but from what I've always experienced, the bottom lane here is going to be the place that you need to be to save your tires. The middle, you may be able to get a run, but if you go straight up to the top, I mean, you're just going to be free falling if you go all the way up to the wall.
Yeah, I keep an eye here on the number 21 of Trevor Earhart. He's been kind of moving around back there. He moved up 6 positions, especially after the caution that collected a few in front of him here. But he's been able to fight his way up. He's taking a peek. Man, he's so aggressive. Number 21 machine, man, I just don't know about that. It seems to hold out for him every single race when he comes out here. Just doesn't. Hopefully he doesn't get caught up in anything. You know, is it a real good idea for him to be slicing around this track the way that he is?
Yeah, and he looked like he was going to try to take it 3 wide there for a second, but he's not going to be able to do it. And he can be that aggressive type of guy. We've seen him be aggressive this season in this series. Right here, you see 3 wide right now on your screen. These guys right here are going for it right here. Ain't nobody wanting to save any tires right now, Patrick. Everybody going, but going back to one thing I was going to say, you know, we may see some of these guys when they go through the tri-oval, they may actually dip below that yellow line. They can go down there to improve their position. It's not like a plate track like you would see in 2 weeks when they go to Atlanta Super Speedway. You can go below that line. You can cut that apron to try to get a little bit of advantage. But from what I've experienced at that, you're not really gaining anything from what I've experienced trying to cut that apron.
Yeah, right now, Tay McDonald still enjoying his half-second lead out front, led every lap so far of this race. Taking a look at Alex Forget sitting in the 15th spot. But somebody who's actually been wheeling back here pretty bad, Devin Hudgens. He's moved down now 13 positions. Something's happened to his machine out there. I don't know if he's accidentally clipped the wall, but he has been rolling back. Now down to 19th. Wade Lowe will be the next one, and this is going to knock him out of the top 20 here. So right now, whatever's happened to that 84 Chevrolet is not going to the way he wants here. the track temperature, looking at about that 90-degree mark here. You would think these tires would tack up pretty quick, and he'd be able to, to maintain out there on the track. But that hot lap he put down during qualifying, hopefully that wasn't a fluke, as he's unfortunately rolling back here in pretty much the length of the field when he started at least in the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna see anybody really try to save tires, you usually don't see them drop back to almost outside the top 20. Wayne Lowe's still trying to see if he can get to his left rear and dump it down on the inside, try to get around him. But I mean, this is not a saving tire deal that he is doing right here. There's something major going on. But keep in mind, Devin Hudgens, he was one of those guys that was trying to get that jump on the initial start of this race. May have had a little bit of contact, may have had something go on with that car. That might be what's making it ill handling for him right now. One guy that I wanted to take a note of, somebody that I had talked about pre-race, sitting 6th, started this race 13th. Now he's sitting 6th. That's James Loveland, coming out of nowhere right here. But I talked about it earlier. He's good on these types of concrete tracks, on a concrete track in general, because he won at Dover. He knows how to get it done on the concrete, and he's showing a little bit of authority, I guess you could say, or a little bit of showing his presence early in this race.
Yeah, James Loveland missing so many races here during the season. Unfortunately, if he does get a win, that will not secure him into the playoffs. He's going to have to win it by points, so he is on the charge here, trying to figure out if he can stay up front and make it in on points. Speaking of points, let's go ahead and take a quick look at our championship, as some of the battles have calmed down a little bit. Right now, Trevor Earhart, Jeremy Burns, and Caleb Gilbert are 1, 2, and 3. Talking about, Grant Thorpe sitting 4th, and Robert Rader is 5th. So a lot of work has got to be done here to find James Loveland. He's got to work through to get to the remainder of these guys. Loveland down there with that 2:35 mark, sitting 23rd. Now remember, there are only 16 spots that we had, so he's got to keep working hard and to really keep passing on through the remainder of these guys on the field, and he's got to be consistent. He can't just, come off with a win and then die off in the next couple of races. But we are already seeing the battle starting to heat up again here between Kevin Orlando and Travis Gilbert. This is the battle back for 7th. Right now, taking a look on the outside is Travis Gilbert there in the number 22 Joey Logano machine, trying to see if he can get it going on here. But Trevor Earhart in the number 21, we've seen him once, we've seen him again, moves up 11 positions for 8th. Not too bad. Do want to give a shout out there to everybody watching out here tonight. Ray Lane, Terry Earhart, Debbie Smith, and you wouldn't believe it here, Jacob, Andrew St. Cour is out there in the chat saying he's enjoying the broadcast and looking forward to tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. He's actually been smoking our tails on Thursday nights, so I'm sure he's really expecting it. But good to see other guys in other leagues that come out here and enjoy a good night. Just racing. And just seeing other competitors. I mean, I know we don't talk about it a lot, but there's so many leagues, so many drivers, so many people that gets on iRacing. And it's good to see, other fellow competitors watching other races, just seeing, we're all race fans, regardless, what league we run in or whatever. We're all race fans, and we love sitting watching races, watching other guys compete. So, it's good to see Andrew St. Cour out there, and hopefully we'll have something for him tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, even Douglas Ross is out there. But taking a look out here on the racetrack, Justice Murphy here in the all-about Bug Chevrolet. That 12 machine's been on a roll here so far. He's following behind Nick Alves. Right now, Nick Alves looks like he got a little bit loose coming out of turn 3. They were kind of wiggling around a little bit. Justice Murphy gives him a nudge, but he safely gets up to that 14th position. But more battles continue up front. Right now, Alice Forget trying to continue this one on. He's sitting 10th right now. Can that 19 machine that you love so very much out there, will he be able to kind of keep this race to himself here and continue battling along? Because this track can be fast at the beginning and peter off toward the end.
Well, and that's the same thing with Dover. I mean, we saw what he did at Dover. Had that unfortunate incident right there at the end of the race, wasn't able to close it out. But I keep comparing this track to Dover, obviously, because of the concrete surface. Concrete is completely different than driving on asphalt. So I expected to see some of the guys that were really good at Dover, to be good here tonight. And I think he'll be able to charge it up to the front. I mean, obviously, you talked about it. I believe it was he started at the back for a penalty, and he's all the way up here in the 10th spot. So, I think he'll be able to charge it up through the front. It's just whether or not he's going to be able to close out a good finish tonight. And be honest with you, Patrick, he needs one.
Yeah, well, it doesn't seem to be affecting him too much here. He's continuing to charge. Nothing's slowing him down. He's working his way through the field, but he's got to be methodical. We've seen Alex Forget, multiple times slice through the field but take himself out. I mean, the barrel's a bit more than one person here in this league. It just seems to be the hardest part, and I can't figure out why. It's just, you would think racing side by side, you would think people hitting the wall like on a turn exit or something, but it seems to be the barrels. Every time guys head into pit road, it comes out and bites them. And we've seen Justice Murphy get him once. We've seen Caleb Gilbert get him once. We've seen Alex Forget get him there at Dover, and the absolute heartbreaker that we saw on that. So it's just how in the world. He's got to be methodical. He can't blast through this one. He's got to stay charging forward and just make sure he doesn't, rush things too fast before he gets ahead of himself.
Yeah, well, I mean, and everybody really wishes that those barrels would be realistic. When you hit them, they would just go away. They don't. I mean, hitting them barrels is like hitting the wall. It just doesn't move. So. But every single one of those instances, if I remember correctly, Patrick, every single one of those instances was coming down to the end of the race. Everybody's trying to get every little bit that they possibly can. Everybody's trying to get that extra tenth or that extra even half a second if they can get it. Everybody's pushing so hard because they know if they've got a good car, they want to make sure that it is there. But you talked about the consistency that you got to have. If you got a good lead and you know that you're rocking and rolling, that you need to be able to be consistent. And I'll say this: there's one guy that's consistent right here for the lead.
Yep.
Robert Rader going to come to the inside, almost actually kind of squeezed Tate McDonald, like he almost squeezed him up into the wall. Grant Thorpe just blinked and reappeared right next to Robert Rader. I mean, that's some speed for you right there. He's going to go side by side with Rader. Rader's going to be on the bottom. Grant Thorpe going to try to see if he can get the run on the top. But as I talked about it a while ago, Robert Rader on the bottom. He has that preferred line, the shortest way around, trying to save those tires. But Grant might have saved a little bit more than Robert did right here, because here comes Grant Thorpe. Talk about him, the fuel calculator. Here he comes. He may have something for Tate McDonald right here coming to the end of the stage.
Yeah, not too shabby here from Grant Thorpe, trying to see if he can hold Robert Rader down there. Fortunately, you don't see that in real life, where a car just disappears and then it comes back to life. That 77 machine could have caused a whole lot of trouble. But Rader staying down on that bottom line. Jeremy Burns following along with that, and Trevor Keith, who hasn't moved yet at all this race, is still in that 5th position. But Tate McDonald's got to be enjoying this. The more these guys battle behind him, the more he's able to pull away, stay out in that fresh air, and continue on the charge. But look at this little crossover here. Grant Thorpe now on the bottom, pushing Rader back toward the top. Does the 15 of Trevor Keith try to follow below and see if he can reel in a little bit of that draft, get underneath Jeremy Burns, get a 2-for-1 here? Oh, man. Contact there. Grant Thorpe into the back of Robert Rader. That pushes Rader into the front. And now we're 3 wide heading to the finish line here.
Yeah, Jeremy Burns got into the fence just a little bit. Trevor Keith basically got a 2-for-1. Or a twofer, as I guess some of my buddies would say here on iRacing. Got him a twofer. So I thought Trevor Keith was just going to be real content with just running in 5th where he's at and just go ahead and get to the end of the stage, get the points, and then try to carry on. But you got to take what everybody else gives you. I mean, they give him that opportunity right there in turn 3. As now Robert Rader looks like he's going into the pits. Maybe trying to, I don't know exactly what he's doing for that reason, Devin Hudgens back here in the back as well going into the pits as well. So, but Trevor Keith having a very solid run. I mean, even if you're not moving forward, you're still in the top 5, which is a good points day.
Yeah, right now Trevor Keith battling alongside Jeremy Burns still for that number 3 position. Trevor Keith has been having a heck of a time. Right now, that kind of a sore spot is being Jeremy Burns, but he's going to let that battle fight another day as he heads down pit road with Tay McDonald and Matthew Robinson. Those 3 guys are heading out there. So the fuel calculator kind of dialing it in here. That's saying, I got a little extra there in the tank, so we're going to continue on with this one. Remember, that 35 to 37 fuel window is when it's going to happen. Now, I know we didn't get to our race, kind of a race peel out here, but stage is at lap 45, and they've got 5 sets of tires down pit road there. We'll talk a little bit about that Dash for Cash system that we've got coming up during the stage break. But Grant Thorpe still leading the race there with the mountain man behind him. Trevor Earhart has now moved up 16 positions, sitting third. We'll see where he ends up after he has to pit. Still going to have to wait on that, but he is not as fast as these guys here in the front. He's got to make up over 2.5 seconds to get to the leader of Grant Thorpe, who's just enjoying his time with his 1 second lead over top of Jeremy Burns here. And it just this is probably exactly what Grant Thorpe wants to see and how we thought it was going to go originally before he was tailing behind Tay McDonald for most of this race. So little lead laps here by the number 77 Dollar General Chevrolet out in front as more drivers coming down pit. Jeremy Burns and Trevor Earhart now sitting 11th and 12th, rotating on back as they head down pit, which puts Nick Alves, Brandon Dunford, Wayne Lowe, and Justin Murphy finishing out of the top 5.
Well, some of these guys that are staying out, I understand, why they're doing it, trying to stretch that fuel window the best they possibly can. But I like what Robert Rader did right there. Went in, got that short pit. He's going to be faster, obviously, than these guys that are staying out. So he's going to be gaining so much time on them right here. And he knows that stage now is coming at lap 45. So he got the jump on these guys. So he's maximizing everything he can for his points. Some of these other guys like Grant Thorpe, Nick Alves, Brandon Dunford, some of these guys might actually be playing for later in the race, seeing what their car is going to do on that long run. Grant Thorpe being one of those guys that I don't think he would have to worry about it too much because he has been running up front for a good portion of this race. As you see, wow, got one almost. Looked like he actually made it. I'm not sure if he got busted for speeding at that point, but very good save by him. But I think that's what Grant Thorpe's doing. He's playing for later on in the race. I think that's what his game plan is right now.
Yeah, fastest on the track right now is Robert Rader with a 29.86. No one's gone faster than that on the track all night here, so he is actually picking up speed. I don't know if maybe a 1 set of tires or not, only with about a 9.25 second pit stall time. As he is rolling around out here on the track right now. I'm trying to figure out how he's picking up so much more speed than before he pit. I mean, right now, as the tires are settling in, the more speed he's picking up and the farther he's going to pull away. So if you think about the guys who were in the lead, Tay McDonald that was in the lead, Grant Thorpe that was in the lead, these guys might be in a boatload of trouble coming out of pit if that 53 is turning fast laps like this, coming out after his pit stop.
Well, but there's something else I didn't think about, and I just now thought about it. Some of these guys, like say Grant Thorpe, some of these guys might be running it as long as they can because they know they're going to get a caution within the next 5 laps. They might not even pit at this stage break and just stay out and save that extra set of tires, because the way Robert Rader is putting down these lap times that you called out right there, Patrick, he's burning his tires up 9 ways to Sunday right now. You said that they got 5 sets laying in the pits. Robert Rader, fast as he's moving right now, he might be burning his stuff up, and then when this caution comes out, he may have to go down and get another set of tires. So I actually, now sitting here seeing what was going on, I actually like Grant Thorpe's game plan, which is to just take it easy right here for these 5 laps, let that stage break happen, and save that extra set of tires. So I really like that game plan. I mean, I like both game plans. Everybody's got their own strategy that they're trying to do for points and everything else. So, but, Grant Thorpe might be in the catbird seat because we talk about him being the fuel calculator and saving. He's going to be able to save his tires right here for these 5 laps, get some stage points out of this, And I don't see him pitting right here, but Robert Rader might be one of those guys that's going to duck it down.
Yeah, well, we may be talking about the fuel calculator, but we might actually have a mastermind out here if you think about it. Wayne Lowe came down and pit on lap 4. Oh, and right as I get ready to put my foot in my mouth here, I thought the 34 Chevrolet would go ahead and stay out there like John Fike is in the 09. They pit on lap 4, and I was hoping they were going to be able to stretch it as far as they can. Now, if you guys remember from, I believe it was last season, John Fike ran out of fuel at Daytona and had to coast into pit lane after he won the stage. So Fike might be trying to reach out and get some playoff points here for a stage win if he can. Tonight's top 4 will actually be entering into the dash for cash, and John Fike's going to give that position up, and I think Caleb Gilbert might have to come in as well. But Caleb Gilbert trying to hold on as long as he can. 35 to 37 laps on fuel. So if he's able to make 37, give or take that lap 4 pit, I mean, he's going to make, if he makes it, he'll be on fumes.
Yeah, he's going to be on straight up fumes. He's going to be just begging for the race control to just let him just go straight in the pits the first chance that he gets. He's going to be needing it really bad. But, you know, obviously pits are closed at this point right here. So he's pretty much made his bed. He's going to have to lay in it. Don't believe Robert Rader is going to be able to catch him and get this. So if Gilbert has saved enough, I'm telling you, just going in and topping off, we talked about that. That was a big move right there for Caleb Gilbert to go in and top off. And obviously, he's going to have the, I guess you could say, the freshest tires out of everybody when we come out of this stage right here. So Gilbert right there, he's showing something tonight. I'm telling you, he may be one of them sleeper picks for tonight.
Yeah, good notable though. Remember, Caleb Gilbert started in the back of the pack. And if he ends up finishing the stage, remember it has to be the finish of lap 45, and the top 10 have to finish the lap before the caution will come out. So Caleb Gilbert has to make it around one more time here to get on through. Okay, you know, Robert Rader's not going to be able to make up 6 seconds to catch him here in a couple of turns. But at least he'll have a teammate. That I guarantee you, Rob will push Caleb down pit and make sure he pits, because right now it's going to be all about team points. But it looks like Caleb Gilbert going to go ahead and get the stage win here tonight, starting from dead last, 22 positions up to sit first. Not too shabby out of that 54 Ford here tonight, followed by the 53 on the, here at the track. This is just mind-blowing how blown apart these guys here, how blown apart they are on the track. How do they keep clumped together? And is obviously pit strategy is the #1 goal here tonight, and that's the only way you're going to win this race.
Yeah, pit strategy 100%. Saving your tires would be the second strategy, obviously. So saving gas, saving tires, that's going to be the key. I don't think it's going to be the fastest guy here. It's going to be whoever is the strategy guy. And we talked about some of those strategy guys like Grant Thorpe, but Caleb Gilbert, he's showing everybody that he is right now. He's the strategy man here at Nashville.
Yep, we're sitting in Caleb Gilbert's car here. I'm looking to see if this Ninja Turtle's got enough fuel to make it to the end. I saw Robert Rader give him a little nudge there, and I thought something might have happened. Checking out there in the chat again, Terry's saying this race is flying by. You are right. We are already rolling through this one. These guys are taking really no prisoners and not taking any crap from anybody here as they continue to roll on through. Pit stops are happening now, and these guys have got to learn a little bit here, kind of from one another on the pit strategy, how they're going to handle each other out there on the track, what they're going to do. Do they take tires or not take tires? The last pit stall times were an average of about 9 seconds. So a lot of these guys were fuel and goes, whether they take tires or not. That's going to be the big key. I would assume here, Jacob, seeing this is a planned caution, take the tires now, and probably these guys might not take tires for the remainder of the race.
Well, I mean, for the remainder of the stage, obviously, I mean, yeah, they're not going to take any tires. I mean, that's crazy right there to see Gilbert be able to make it the way that he did. Obviously, Robert Rader going to beat him off pit road. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a crazy race. Obviously, like I said, I mean, you got the strategy, you got everything playing. into everybody's hands, I guess you could say. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be crazy right here to see this right here. I mean, we've already seen these guys be able to stretch it. Obviously, nobody's gonna be able to stretch it in the second stage unless somehow or another we do get a caution that would allow some of these guys to stretch it if it happens early, like it did in the first stage. So, yeah, I mean, it's all about strategy at this point, Patrick. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not one of the best ones at strategy. So these guys right here are showing me up.
Yeah, well, doing a fantastic job here most of the night here. Caleb Gilbert really making it happen here. I'm enjoying seeing what I'm seeing from him here so far. Hopefully he's not caught up too bad. Caleb Gilbert, you got a copy?
I got you.
Dude, fantastic job here. Winning the stage, you know, you had to have been cutting it so close on fuel or saving much earlier there in the stage. We noticed you came in on lap 4. You started from the back of the pack and now win the stage. What's the outlook for the remainder of this race?
Well, with the EOL that's starting the back, I was really getting deep into my bag of how do I get out of this situation. And I'm not the fastest here. Hasn't been not a whole lot of practice, so I figured I'd go for it. I remember how to save about 40 laps and then dial that back a little bit. So got me the track position that I need. I don't know if I'll capitalize, but it's a lot better than being in 25th. So, and stage point.
Yeah, in the pileup, and especially at the beginning, you know, kind of how bad was your heart racing when those guys on the first launch and a couple drivers were taken out, you know, smashed to pieces there right at the beginning, which I don't think Blake Cook made the first lap, and unfortunately his car's totaled out and taken to the garage. I mean, how nervous were you to see that start happen?
With the penalty, I was taking it super cautious as is, and I saw that happen and immediate slam on the brakes, and I was able to blink and the seas parted, so got very lucky. Heart rate definitely went up a little bit.
All right, man. Well, we'll keep an eye on that 54 Ford you have out there. That's going to be a lot of work you've got to do, especially on this choose cone rule. Good luck to you, Caleb.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Yep. All right, and that's going to do it there for Caleb Gilbert in the number 54 machine. Oh, man. And you can talk about interesting angles that these guys can race out here tonight. You know, and how many, you know, the driver seesawing here. I mean, I want to give a shout out here to Tay McDonald. You know, this choose cone rule is going to kind of set him back just a little bit here, but at least he'll be able to return back to the front spots. He's been having a hard time trying to get back up there after some of these pit calls. Now, you know, as a driver, you know, real quick here, Jacob, you know, what, you know, how you see how other guys pit, what do you do next?
I think you just go by your race. I mean, you don't want to race, you know, somebody else's race. I mean, that's what I've always done. You don't want to race you don't want to race for somebody else making you make a decision. You want to be able to race your race and be able to be as comfortable as you possibly can. You want to make your own decisions. You don't want somebody else to make those decisions for you.
All right, Wayne Lowe, who did not pit during the stage, he last pit on lap 41, will be starting next to Caleb Gilbert on this restart here, and here we go. Already a little trouble behind Caleb Gilbert there. Looks like Trevor Earhart did okay, but it's Tay McDonald and I believe Grant Thorpe kind of playing a little bit of bumper cars there. Somebody's tires might have slipped on this re-go. With fresh tires, we are not going to be able to tack up. We are too wide, at least here, from, I believe that is about 7th position on back already. Tay McDonald battling for 6th. He's trying to hold on to it, but James Loveland gets that 5th position away from him here. We got a good gaggle of cars sitting behind him here, spreading this track apart.
Yeah, and not only to mention Robert Rader takes the lead away from Wayne Lowe. Wayne Lowe stuck up on the top. Get Caleb Gilbert to his inside. Gilbert going to be able to power on by him, or maybe not, gets a little bit loose on the bottom. That's going to open the door for Trevor Earhart, who's just going to get that momentum, get that draft off of Wayne Lowe, shoot around him on the outside. Luke Trevor Earhart, who we talked about earlier in this race, one of those more aggressive drivers, now solidly putting himself in the top 3. Everybody behind him, a gaggle of cars, like you said, everybody trying to get maneuver, trying to be able to get closer to the front. But really, really nice to see this right here, and really nice to see Wayne Lowe, who we don't usually talk about that much, being up front, being able to hang with these guys, being able to hang with Robert Rader and Trevor Earhart, 2 of the big names, I guess you could say, in Racing Revolution. Real nice to see Wayne Lowe stick it up there and keep it with these guys.
Yeah, not too shabby here. Wayne Lowe, I was saying before, lap 41 is the last time he pit. He did get tires, fortunately, but he is up 25 positions from where he started. Trevor Earhart has passed at least half the field as well, up 16 for third. And Caleb Gilbert up 19th, sitting fourth. So we have got guys moving up and through the field here. Robert Rader finally getting his break, and every time you have a conversation with Robert Rader here, his big deal is if he can get out front, he can get the clean air, he's got the race won. We are under caution, and there's a problem back here with the other Grant here in this league. Grant Turner might have been in some trouble back here. Oof, that has a lot of damage to the front nose of that car.
Yeah, and I'm slowly taking a look, seeing exactly what had happened to Mr. Grant Turner right here. Looked like a little bit of bumping and banging, trying to get off of turn number 4. Looking right here as this is going on, as you see it right here. Wow, just gets a little bit loose right around Jeffrey Israel once again. I mean, wow. I mean, I'm telling you, he is a caution magnet. And then Grant Turner looked like he went to try to go below it, try to miss it as best as he could. Looked like he clipped the grass a little bit and slid straight up into the fence. Hopefully his day is not done right yet, but I think that just looked like a racing incident, I guess you could say, coming off of turn number 4 right here. Looked like Devin Hudgens, which is one of those guys that was up front, qualified this race 4th, and has found his way to the back of this field. Looked like he just got a little bit loose off of turn number 4, and Turner hit him in the back end, and then Turner tried to keep it straight and sent him straight up in the fence.
Yeah, absolutely critical move that needed to be made there by Grant Turner. Just not enough time to react. Some guys are coming down for a little quick splash of fuel. Chris Schaefer, Jeffrey Israel, Nick Alves is coming down pit road. Travis Gilbert, Devin Hudgens, Grant Turner. Of course, those 2 drivers will be coming down for some repairs. Remember, this is a absolutely no fast repairs league. These guys are going to try to see if they can get this car squared away, and Grant Turner hopefully trying to see if he can get back out onto the track. Got a lot of work to do to make that happen. Chris Schaefer in the number 23 Chevrolet from Inferno Motorsports trying to get back out there. Quick splash of fuel back out there as well. But I got to admit, when it's not a rush here, do you throw on an extra set of tires? I mean, you weren't out there that long. Last time most of these guys pit was 47. We're at 57 now. You got a few tires to burn since you didn't take any at the beginning stage. Do you throw another set on now?
Yeah, that's a tough call, to be honest with you. It's a tough call to throw on that extra set of tires. I mean, I liked what they did right here, going in, topping off, and getting gas, because they know that they're going to be able to go longer than some of these leaders on that fuel strategy we talked about at 35, 37 laps. Unless you're Caleb Gilbert, then you can go 40. But, I mean, you honestly, I think you're going to see a bunch of them. You see Devin Hudgens, some of these other guys, Travis Gilbert, going down, topping off, getting that extra gas. But, I mean, that's a tough spot, to lay in. I mean, it depends. I mean, you already took a set earlier in the first stage. Then you took another set when you came off of the stage. So you took one before the stage, then you take a set after the stage is over. I don't think you take one right here at this moment, because you want to have some extra tires laying in your pit stall. Obviously, if you maybe happen to run into a caution with like 10 to go, you want to be able to have at least one extra set in there. That way you got something to run to the end. So right now, no, I mean, I don't think you really want to take tires right now. Unless you're in a desperate mood, but I don't think any of these guys are in that desperate mode just yet.
Yeah, I agree with that. Few drivers here in the back, not used to being in the back. Jeremy Burns sitting in that 10th position, maybe after the shoes cone, he'll be able to fight up. Alice Forget still having a little bit of trouble sitting down in the 18th spot. Nick Alves, quick fuel and go back out onto the track for him. Now he's down to 20th. Just so many, a couple of drivers. Jeffrey Israel still might be in the danger zone back here in that 23rd spot. Hudgens was able to fix that machine, the 84 Chevrolet, back out onto the track, but Grant Turner I think he's still in one piece here. Man, that car is looking pretty rough, and hopefully that's not going to cost him the remainder of this race. As you see the damage here on the front nose, that is not looking too sharp here. Hopefully he doesn't get black flagged to come back in. You know, I've seen pieces like that where the fender will come down, start rubbing that tire back to the meatball flag, and these guys sent back down pit road, and once again, then now you're pitting again under green flag, and that's kind of the end of your race.
Yeah, and you don't want to see that. I mean, nobody wants to see that. Dreaded meatball flag. I've seen a couple of those this week for myself in official races, but yeah, I mean, you don't want to get that meatball flag because if you stay out there with so much damage, eventually you can break something. Basically, like you said, Patrick, you can break something, make the car worse, and then it might just tack on extra damage to your car. But you know, him being one lap down, he might get a quick caution here in next couple laps. He might get that quick caution, be able to get down there and fix it and get the lucky dog.
Yeah, one of the battles here on the track that I think might be the finest one we'll see tonight. Robert Rader and Trevor Earhart will be starting side by side. Wayne Lowe and James Loveland in that second row, and away we go. Alex Forget is around.
And there again, Patrick, that looks exactly damn near identical to what it looked like at the start of the race. Everybody stacking up, bumping into one another. Started right there around the Wayne Lowe area in that range, Grant Thorpe. You see it, some of these guys trying to get the jump. Earhart actually was the one that started initially. He did not get that good jump. Robert Rader actually shot out like a cannon. Trevor Earhart did not get a good jump, stacked that whole outside lane up. And then, like I said earlier, it's a domino effect. When it goes to the front, it's going to go all the way to the back, and you see it literally. I mean, you can literally see that on your screen go from the front car to the back, to back, to back, to back, all the way back. And it just goes all the way back, and some of these guys back in the back not able to check up just enough. And that's exactly what happened right there that sent Alex Forget straight into the fence.
Yeah, little starts like that, I'm sure race control will be taking a peek at speed. It looked like the pack looked like they were kind of checking up a little bit before they entered that restart zone. I didn't know if we were slowing down a little bit and then launching, which but from experience, that is a no-no. You got to maintain speed and then launch. You kind of sandbag it a little bit and then launch. That's why I was wondering if Trevor Earhart, why he got caught off guard so bad there. But fortunately, we have Ted Rekich out there as our race control. He'll be keeping his eye out there and double-checking to make sure everything is kosher with that last restart, because it was very odd to see the entire outside lane just, accordion smash into each other. And then, unfortunately, that's what we get now. So a couple of drivers working their way down pit. Travis and Caleb Gilbert, Alex Forget working his way down, Devin Hudgens working his way down. And I can't imagine why Grant Turner wouldn't be coming back down and trying to fix that car up a little bit. But he actually miraculously gets back onto the lead lap here with a quick caution. He'll be back on the lead lap. I'm sure he's going to be scrambling to get down pit road as fast as he can. He's got to do some more repairs to the front of that machine if he wants to remain competitive.
Well, and I talked about it right before that restart that, that was basically his saving grace. That's something that he needed was to get a quick caution, be able to get down pit road. So that actually worked out in his favor at the expense of Alex Forget. So, I would see him, if he don't go pit right here, to at least get some of that damage fixed. I don't know what he's thinking, but you see him right here getting down on the apron. So, I believe Grant Turner will make that left-hand turn to pit lane. Obviously, having to wait on some of the other guys behind him, because you don't want to get caught passing under yellow when you got to go into the pits. Or they'll throw you a black flag for that one. They got so many rules with iRacing trying to black flag you. You're basically racing against iRacing at those points. But, but obviously, Grant Turner, he needed that caution, and he got it.
All right, well, with somebody with a familiar paint scheme like you, Wayne Lowe is still out there on the track. So these cautions are actually playing to his favor a little bit here, seeing he didn't pit since lap 41. He should be entering that pit window here pretty soon. This is now probably going to extend him about that 75 to 80 lap mark. He's got to be careful, otherwise he's going to be coasting in the pit, and that's not what you want. You want to make sure you are under power and continuing on into the in the pit road here, man. I just don't know how these. I think the strategy on this one, I think that's kind of what's tripping me up here, Jacob, is this 34 machine not coming down pit road yet. I mean, he's still hanging in here with the top 5, no problem. I would hate to be having a fantastic battle, doing so well, and then I'm out of gas. I got to pit. I mean, everybody else is going to continue running full speed, and I'm 10 laps behind.
Well, I mean, you noticed right here ever since we've went green, I mean, we did have a little stint where we did go green after that stage break, but most of these laps that they've been running after this stage, they've been under caution. So he's not really been pushing the car. He's not really been full throttle. He's not been really burning any fuel at this instance. So, I mean, I like the call, and I loved the call when I saw it, to get up there and, get your name called. But, I mean, it's like I said, Patrick, he's not really burning that much fuel when he's, running around under caution at, give or take 50, 60 miles an hour. I mean, you're sitting there barely even got the gas pedal put to the floor, so you're not burning a lot of fuel under these cautions. So, but obviously he's going to have to pit before Robert Rader, Trevor Earhart, James Loveland, these guys up front. He's going to have to pit before they do, but he's able to stretch it because of these cautions.
Well, hopefully he's doing the right thing and cutting the engine off, because he's going to need to save every drop that he can. Let's get this one back under green flag here, waiting for Barney to give the signal. Got to wait for Robert Rader when he decides he wants to go in that Geico restart zone, and now is the time. Away they go. Still outside line, just seems to be the worst place to be. Starts the accordion effect again. Little trouble there with Wayne Lowe. Looks like James Loveland and Grant Thorpe that we see there on that outside line. So now Tay McDonald finally breaking back into the top 3 here, and we've already got a little bit of trouble here back around that Parker Johnson area.
Yeah, and they're going to go 3 wide. Kevin Orlando down on the bottom. Jeremy Burns going to be up top. Looks like Parker Johnson's going to be able to slide past him. Orlando actually almost cuts up into him, gets him into the door. And turn 4 is one of those really, really tight corners. It's basically like Dover. As much as I compare this track to Dover, that turn 4 is just like a turn 2 at Dover. It's very, very tight for some of these guys to get off of that corner. It's real hard to keep it down on the bottom of the racetrack and not just slide straight up, which is what you're trained to do in practice, is come from the bottom to the top and then come back down. So that, it puts them in a real, real bad spot trying to make that move and trying not to throw somebody straight up into the fence. But he was able to make it work and not put him up into the fence. As you're sitting there watching Trevor Keith trying to get a hold of James Loveland. This is the battle for 5th place. Still trying to catch Wayne Lowe, who is still looking very good on his strategy and still staying very competitive with these top 3 guys.
Ooh, 3 drivers trying to go at it here. Trevor Keith is able to squeeze away from Grant Thorpe and his onslaught on the low line. But Kevin Orlando notices that Grant Thorpe's having to check up a little bit as he dives way too low. Kevin Orlando now up 7 positions, moving into that number 7 spot. Trevor Keith gets the run here on James Loveland. But Loveland has been very, very conscious of his tires here. He's trying to hang back a little bit, let the race come to him, and look, passes him right back. Loveland coming up with a lot more speed than Trevor Keith is as they match heading down the front stretch here. Kevin Orlando's got a choice to make here in that number 27 starring machine. What is he going to do and which lane is he going to pick?
I mean, you're in a tough spot right there. I mean, you got the top. I mean, you got Loveland getting the runs off of the corner. You got Trevor Keith getting runs in the corner. You see him send it. I mean, I love saying that. Sends it going into turn number 3. He's able to clear James Loveland. But now Loveland's going to cut the apron, try to cut down to the bottom of Trevor Keith. And then he's going to put Keith up on the top lane. But we'll see if Keith is able to get the run like James Loveland was able to that previous lap. No, he will not. Loveland's still going to be at his door, and Kevin Orlando better watch his back bumper. Grant Thorpe is going to jump up here and get into this battle. I'm telling you, these guys are battling their tails off right here for the 5th spot, and it's just a waddle of cars. I mean, any of these guys all the way back to Parker Johnston, some of those guys back behind him have got a shot right here to be able to capitalize if someone just slips up and makes a little bit of a mistake. Kevin Orlando still trying to figure out a way. He may actually see if he can push it in the middle, or maybe try to get Trevor Keith to overdrive the corner. That way he can just get around both of them.
Yeah, right now Kevin Orlando really trying to push his weight through here and see if he can get just a little bit extra there on that outside line. James Loveland drops in another position down to 7th now as the 27 starting machine gets on around. Grant Thorpe trying to see if he can follow the same line, and Justice Murphy in the number 12 All About Bugs Chevrolet trying to see if he can bring that race back to him now as Justice has finally gotten into the top 10 he's been looking for all night. But this race being led by Robert Rader by almost a second now, leading out in front. But the battle we kind of keep honing into is between 5th and 9th here. But we are back under caution. I believe our dirt racer, Chris Schaefer, might have had some trouble there in the back. And I think it might be the cause of this caution here on lap 72.
Yeah, Schaefer was actually looking like he was going to be in position for a good run, was actually running inside the top 5 at one portion, but looks like our buddy Jeffrey Israel, looks like he may have overdrove it, big time overdrove the corner, just straight up drilled straight into Christopher Schaefer. Schaefer tried to gather it back up on the bottom and then comes back up and gets Israel. I mean, that right there, I think that's just a product of either Israel misjudged his braking point, or he just misjudged when Christopher Schaefer was going to hit the brakes and slow down for the corner. That's just a misjudgment deal. But I mean, it looks like, I mean, anybody watching here the Racing Revolution on Simtrack's broadcast, anybody watching that right there would actually sit there and go, wow, that looked intentional. No, it wasn't. That was not intentional at all. It was just a misjudgment on Jeffrey Israel. And granted, you could say he had one behind him, maybe pushing him a little bit, Travis Gilbert behind him. You could say that may had a little bit to do with it. Maybe Jeffrey Israel was looking up in his mirror. He was worried about where Travis Gilbert was going to go in that corner and just completely missed where he was at. Honestly, misjudgment right there by Jeffrey Israel.
Yeah, and taking a look at Alex Forget that is actually battling up while those two were going at it. He sends it into this turn and then tries to see if he can save the car exiting. Man, that is tough, especially when Nick Alves is looking at right behind him. So you see some of these guys, and you were talking before about, they're just trying to find every little bit here. What extra can they get? But it looks like 4-tire pit stops for most of our drivers out here. You're trying to sling themselves back onto the track. This is going to shuffle up the entire field now, as Travis Gilbert, the only driver not to come down. The number 22 Ford staying out there. I would question if he is considering coming down a little later and maybe trying to see if he can squeeze another inch of fuel in while everybody else did come down pit road. But already out there in the chat, Terry Earhart is saying it's looking like an old school Racing Revolution race with the 53 and the 21 up front. Yes, it does. I'm just hoping those two don't make contact and ruin each other's race, because it has happened before. But we have reached the halfway point. We are under caution. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on just a moment. We're going to cut to commercial and we'll be right back.
It's no secret the real estate market can be a little tricky to figure out. In the Oklahoma City area, you need the experts at the Earhart Group to guide you. We're one of the top-rated real estate teams in all of Oklahoma. We can help you buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And we've got a dedicated farm and ranch division too. The Earhart Group, for all your Oklahoma real estate needs. And proud to be a sponsor of the Simtrack's Racing Broadcast.
One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
For the finest in vinyl siding, rain gutters, overhangs, storm and replacement windows, even patios and decks, trust in the experts at Ultimate Siding and Gutters. In addition to being licensed and insured, our technicians are also friendly and courteous, performing hassle-free service and installation at affordable rates. Plus, we provide free estimates for commercial and residential structures. Our entire staff will exceed your expectations. For the ultimate in siding, gutters, and much more, call Ultimate Siding and Gutters today.
Everybody, appreciate you getting a shout out from our sponsors there. Lap 78 is what will be starting here. Travis Gilbert and Trevor Earhart will be on our front row. Robert Rader and Trevor Keith after the choose cone will be side by side. Yeah, Trevor Earhart top line. This might be a sketchy one for him as you see a couple of drivers trying to get back in line. Couple little trouble back there for Parker Johnson. He's able to squeeze back in. Barney in the flag booth waiting on the restart whenever Travis Gilbert's ready to go, and he's ready to go now. Here we go with Robert Rader here into the front, chasing the number 22 now. Give it just a little bit of time because that definitely, the spread apart. Oh, man, we've seen this before. These two guys battling it out before. They're trying to kill each other out there, especially at the Darlington race. This is a little bit what you see. Gilbert and Rader going at it here, but the fresh tires, will they offset? As Robert Rader came down, got tires on lap 74, and Travis Gilbert on lap 61.
And you talked about, well, we talked about this a while ago, being real sketchy with Trevor Earhart up there on the top. Did not get another good jump. It's tough to see that on the choose cone rule with some of these guys trying to get up on the top. As you see, Robert Rader actually getting very, very loose right here off of turn number 2. Trevor Earhart, who we was just talking about, is going to see if he can take that middle lane and make it work. And Patrick, we was talking about this during the commercial break. It seems like, some of these guys are actually starting to try to make that middle lane work. You're seeing some of the best that the Racing Revolution series has actually got. Most of those guys are running that middle lane and making it work and making it stick, but they're still burning their tires up more than the guys is on the bottom. But Trevor Earhart going to go to second, and we are going to have another caution that's going to be on the speedway.
Yeah, Brendan Richardson is around. I think Parker Johnson and Christopher Schaefer, a couple of other drivers that got collected in that yet again. Not looking good. Christopher Schaefer, this is the second time he's been involved in one of these cautions. Let's try to figure out what happened here, because it looked like they had separated pretty well here. Actually the problem happens up here with Brandon Richardson area. Let's see if we can find out.
It looked like it was Forget right here on the bottom. Didn't want to squeeze up into the guy up top of him. Actually checked up a little bit. Matthew Robinson gets into the back of him. Basically looked like an outside lane restart right there, honestly. Just everybody stacking up on the inside lane. Forget's going to be able to get by it, but Robinson, when he gets stacked up, he gets hit by Richardson. They send him straight into Parker Johnson, and then after that, it's just a free-for-all. You see a bunch of guys. Jeremy Burns, one of those guys trying to sneak by. There's Wayne Lowe, one of those guys that was up front for a little bit in this race, was actually running up front with Robert Rader and the leaders. he was able to sneak by very, very slightly. But wow, and then we got one just coming out of nowhere. Was that Nick Alves?
Yeah, about to find out here in just a moment. Let's see if we can take a ride along here with Wayne Lowe. He's followed behind Nick Alves right there on the top. It looks like everything's okay with Nick. Yeah.
Wow.
Grant Turner made it though. But yeah, I don't know. Jacob Sirkovich, he made it. Christopher Schaefer, yeah. Schaefer got tangled up with Parker Johnson and Brandon Richardson. So what a bummer for most of these drivers out here just trying to survive. This track is definitely throwing a curveball at some of these drivers out here. With these fixed setups, it's not really an adjustment they can make to try to tighten that race car up. You know, the only adjustment I think you could possibly make is throwing on an odd set of tires. You know, only taking right sides, only taking lefts, to try to see if you can tighten the car up and allow the left side to slide a little more and get a little more grip on that right side to help you hook through the turns. You'll be fast at the beginning, but I'd probably say it'll wear off there pretty quick, Jacob.
It'll wear off very, very quick. I mean, we talked about earlier with the concrete surface that it is, it's just going to eat those tires up. So, I mean, that's the key with fixed setups is you're basically running what iRacing gives you, and then you have to basically adjust your driving style to what the setup is. So it's not like you know some of the leagues that I run in. Where you just go straight in there, you build the car however you want to, and it fits your driving style. These guys right here, not only having to drive what iRacing gives them, but they've had to go through update after update. We went through an update maybe about, 2 or 3 weeks ago, major update with iRacing. So these guys are not only having to fight out those fixed setups, they're also having to fight out the updates that iRacing gives us, and iRacing updates these cars very, very frequently. So it definitely throws these drivers for an extra curveball on top of, like I said, trying to match their driving style with a fixed setup that they cannot adjust. I mean, all they can adjust is the steering pinion, the brake bias, and the steering offset. The offset would help them a little bit with the looseness and the tightness. Obviously, I've talked about it earlier with the steering pinion being, obviously how fast, or your reaction or how quick you can turn the wheel. Your brake bias would have a lot to do with, obviously going into the corner, a little bit more brake. You'd be able to get it loose, so some of these guys might want to drop their brake bias, and maybe they can tighten it up just a little bit.
Yeah, a couple adjustments that you can make. Right now, a cool adjustment by Travis Gilbert. You see him riding this apron the whole time. Maybe another fuel conserving idea here that he's trying to do on the bottom. Still has yet to pitch this lap 61, so his fuel window is coming in very, very close. But an unusual 6 cautions here with 5 unscheduled during this race, as you see many, many drivers are trying to see where this puts some of these other guys. I mean, now we have all guys who are offset pitting. Some of them, pitting on lap 81. Devin Hudgens may be able to resurrect his race. He is back there in that 17th position, but he just came down pit for a quick splash and go. So he is going to be able to extend another 10 laps beyond these other guys, and maybe a timed caution or another pit stop while these guys have to make 2. This might actually be perfectly timed for him. So, being able to bounce back after starting, in the top 5, and now having, wheeling all the way back, that might be his chance to play up front with a little bit of pit strategy. Travis Gilbert and Trevor Earhart once again side by side. They're going to let this one rip as Element X Racing starts behind them with Caleb Gilbert and Robert Raiders. We start lap 85 here. Let's get this one underway, Jacob. Looking pretty good start by Travis Gilbert, who's way out front. And boy, the battle heats up between Trevor Earhart and Caleb Gilbert already.
Yeah, and Gilbert looked like he might have got just a little bit loose. Earhart getting right there on his outside might have made that back end of that car just get just a little bit loose, slide it around a little bit. That's what Earhart needed. So Earhart able to clear Gilbert. That's going to put him to second. Gilbert to third. Robert Rader to fourth. Everyone trying to chase Travis Gilbert, who got a very, very good restart. And I've seen every single time that we get the leader, it does not matter what set of tires he's on, doesn't matter what he's got going on. Every single time the leader takes the bottom, and every single time the leader has got at least 0.3 of a second gap on the second guy as they go into turn one on the restart. So, that's key, and it's going to be key coming to the end of this race if it comes down to a green-white checker, especially for these leaders and especially for some of these guys with this change cone rule. What lane do they want to be in? They've been sitting here watching it for the past 87 laps where everything is going, but Travis Gilbert able to keep it up front. Earhart's going to see if he can stick it in there. He will not be able to stick it in there. He sent it, almost got into his back bumper, and but now he's going to start trying to close or start to creep back toward Caleb Gilbert. And Gilbert and Rader, both of these guys, teammates, trying to see if they can get around Trevor Earhart, see if they can get up there with Travis Gilbert.
Yeah, bottom line seems to be slicking up a whole lot of, almost like there's ice out there on the concrete, unable to make it work. Only a few laps ago, Trevor Earhart actually laid down the fastest time on the track for the first half of the track with about 14.8. Right now, everybody's starting to slow up just a little bit, so Travis Gilbert trying to see if he can offset that, knowing what Trevor Earhart is capable of between turn 1 and 2. He's definitely able to reel him in as we watch him once again, making up that gap. Picking up the pace is Travis Gilbert, though. Last lap time of a 29.96, and he is starting to pull away. As you saw, he was in a lot of trouble, and it looked like Trevor Earhart might be able to get a little piece of him here. But turn entry is so critical here, and now turn exit as we're watching Trevor Earhart save it. Hold on to it because track entry is going to be crucial here as he's losing position 7, 8, 9. Trying to see if he can stay here in the top 10 as right now Kevin Orlando and Alex Forget are going to be the next ones to get a hold of him here. So Trevor Earhart from 2nd to 8th after slip out on turn number 4, and that cost him dearly here for this race.
And that was a great save right there by Trevor Earhart. I mean, when you hit that grass, you were talking about that bottom lane being slick as ice here at Nashville Super Speedway. Well, that grass is slicker than the bottom lane is here on this track. So once you hit that grass, you're basically just along for the ride. And he was able to save that car. Actually didn't slide up into anybody. I believe that was Tay McDonald that was trying to get around him. He was the one that he almost hit him in the door. So that was really, really great driving by Trevor Earhart. We talked about him being one of those more aggressive drivers. I guess he is really aggressive when he's trying to save the car as well, because he done a fantastic job of saving it and not getting anybody else caught up in it. Oh, here we go. Brady Bunch right here live on Simtrax Broadcasting. Got them all on here.
Yeah, we're trying to get it squared up here as these guys are out there battling on the track. Each people throwing a little extra body language. I noticed Tay and Grant down there are leaning into this one because this track is definitely takes it out of you, man. You've got to figure out how to get a good feel for where you are out there on the track. Tay McDonald taking a look at him, sitting 4th out there. Not too shabby there by the number 73 Ford Echo Fastener machine. But right now, some of these guys, you were talking about that money shift, is there a problem? I mean, Justice Murphy, we see him up there, and that's what I love about these cameras here. You see these guys battling back and forth. You see them reaching up, or there's a problem out on the track. They're trying to keep it all in one piece. But Justice Murphy, way off pace, almost 11 seconds before he reaches the next guy out on track. I'm not sure. I believe we are under caution here by whatever happened out there on the track. Justice Murphy was a part of it.
Yes, he was, and he was going into turn 3 and 4 too wide with Kevin Orlando. And you're going to see it right here on your screen, really battling very hard. And Orlando right up against the fence. And Murphy did a good job trying not to throw him in the fence. And then all of a sudden, I'm not real sure if he just got loose right there and came up into Kevin Orlando right there or not. But they were tight as, I don't know what to call it, as tight as they was. But, they were very, very tight right there. And Murphy may have came up a little bit. Orlando might have got a little bit loose. I'm sitting here watching it on my end, and it did look like Orlando tried to keep it out of the fence.
Yep, he stared at the
to be
wall.
able to come down.
That's exactly what it was. It looked like he was looking at the wall and went, oh, no, because the back end's actually starting to kick out a little bit. Saves it,
Yep.
but uses the number 12 to keep himself straight here. So that is unfortunate. Justice Murphy, once again, having the Jeffrey Israel effect here, just unable to keep this car in one piece. And we're going to get this one back underway here. But that is horrible for Justice Murphy, and a little insult to injury. We come back just as he misses his pit stall. Boy, this is not going Justice Murphy's way here. You know, we were talking to him there at Sonoma, and he was saying, man, I'm excited about this track. This one might be mine, man. I'm calling this one out. It'll be me and Grant going at it right now. Grant Thorpe doing a fantastic job as he's rotating up here in that 13th position. The choose cone, I always sit here and try to say, where they're going to be, but the choose cone rule keeps mixing everybody up out here. So we're just, right now, Grant Thorpe sitting in that 13th spot, and we're going to give this field another shuffle here, noticing that the top 6 have not pit. Rader, Caleb Gilbert, James Loveland, Trevor Earhart, Brandon Dunford, and Kevin Orlando. All these guys did not come down pit road. Boy, I don't know if that's really a fantastic call here, seeing that everybody else has now come on lap 94. They came down on 74.
Well, I mean, you're not going to be able to make it from here, obviously, on gas. Obviously, you're going to be able to, obviously, the gas is going to gas, fuel, however you want to call it, it's going to run out before your tires will. So, with that being said, them guys, they went down, got them some tires, got them some gas. These guys, like I said earlier, these guys might be saving that extra set of tires for later on in the race if it needed to be. Like I said, obviously, you can't make it from here if you do pit. So, I'm sure Robert Rader, Caleb Gilbert, I'm sure some of these guys, they know that. So that's why they did not choose to go down that road. Some of these other guys saw them top 6 stay out. They said, you know what? Screw it. We're going to go in. We're going to get these tires, get this gas. We're going to see if we're going to be able to stretch these guys, get around them. But from what we've been seeing tonight, Patrick, it is very, very hard to make a pass without making some sort of contact. So we also talked about this during the commercial break. This has got that feeling of a short track. Granted, it's longer than a mile, but it's shorter than a mile and a half. So it's got that little bit of a short track feel to it. And I wouldn't be surprised we see a couple more beating and banging, trying to get something, try to get something going, because it seems like that's the only way that you can really make a pass is try to move somebody.
Oh, yeah. Hold on just a second. We've got somebody out there asking for Nick Alves on the choose cone rule. Nick, is there something we need to know?
No, people are just wanting my very extravagant announcements on the choose cone. I haven't done it the last 2 times because I ran out of material. Actually, I don't know if you guys can see this. I have my material right here.
Oh, hold on a sec. Oh, God. Nick Alves. What is this?
Oh, this is a printout of choose cone announcements for the league. And I ran out of material. I've already ran through this already.
Bro, show me the gloves. Tell me those are not work gloves. Oh, dude, that's got your name on them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, Patrick, this is work, okay? These are work gloves.
I love it, dude. I thought they were like gloves you shovel with. I said, bro, you got to get them things broken a little bit, man. Good luck, Nick.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, my gosh. Man, these guys kill me every once in a while. Nick Alves going to go ahead and get back at it. Alrighty, Coeb Burns out there. I tried. He didn't have anything for us. Let's go ahead and get this one back underway. Lap 98 is what we're going to be starting. That 53 Ford back out front again, pulls away. Man, you got to love that fast start in the front. And away he goes. Caleb Gilbert will be following along. So 53, 54, getting 1 and 2. Trevor Earhart trying to see if he can hold for third. But bottom line might be sketchy as we're seeing Kevin Orlando rotate up the track.
Orlando trying to make a little bit of a move right here, see if he can get something going. Once again, the outside lane got absolutely nowhere on that restart, even with a guy like James Loveland, who I talked about earlier in this race, being one of those guys that you might want to watch out for. Started this race 13th up to 4th. You would think, him being successful on concrete tracks, he would have had something going, but once again, outside lane not being able to get anything going. Right here, Kevin Orlando, side by side with Dunford. Dunford sends it and chops right across his nose, being able to get down to the bottom. Right behind him, battling it out, Travis Gilbert, Brandon Richardson. These two guys battling it out. Richardson actually got caught up in a couple of accidents earlier in the race, able to get something going. Tay McDonald, we talked about him, and I know he's got a lot of fans that love watching him. Here he is battling right beside Jeremy Burns in the top 10 as we got a couple of guys sliding around. That is Trevor Keith in the 15. Very slow on the outside lane. Not real sure exactly what happened to him, though.
He hammered straight into the wall on that last lap. Something happened big time to Trevor Keith here. I don't know if he's going to be able to return to the race. That was a hard hit that he just slammed on that outside wall. I will try to see if I can find something where he ended up getting undone here. Let's take a look back and see if I can see something here from Trevor Keith. Keith on the bottom side of Alice Forget here. I'm not quite sure. Ooh, there he's loose. Yep. And there's that snapback you always warn us about.
Yeah, I mean, that right there has got all to do with the steering pinion in these cars. I've talked about it before, and some of you viewers that are just joining us for the first time and haven't heard me mention about it, these steering pinions, the steering box is very, very tight on these cars, which is completely different from, I guess you could say, any other car besides the Dallara open wheel cars. Like for an Xfinity or a truck, they have a steering ratio which it's not as tight. It's not as responsive. These cars with this steering box more or less got the steering box of, say, a dirt late model or a sprint car, which is very tight.
Oh,
you see Parker Johnson getting into somebody, and that's going to bring out another caution. Wow, what a hit. And I believe that was Justice Murphy. Was that Justice Murphy?
No, John Fike is destroyed.
John Fike, okay.
Yeah, it looked like Parker Johnston came off the racing surface, returned back onto the racing surface, and John Fike was destroyed. I mean, that car snapped to the right, and if this was real racing, there's an ambulance on the way. Watch right here. Contact, and it snaps. Boom! And that's at over 160 miles an hour straight into the wall, so he is not going to recover from that. That Bucky's machine is done for. The 09 Chevrolet will be down in pit road, and his night is over. Wow, that was a hard hit.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it right now. I mean, Parker had maybe a little bit of help, I guess you could say. Right behind him with Wayne Lowe. Looks like he was just straight up his back bumper. Looked like he actually shoved him into the corner. Might have been a little bit of air there. Might have been a little bit of a bubble going in. But I'm sure Parker probably registered some incident points on that, because that was very tight between Parker and Wayne going into that corner. So Wayne might have actually sent Parker into John Fike in that particular instance. But Fike took, oh my goodness, he took a hard hit head on. That would have been way, way worse than what Ryan Blaney had Sunday. Obviously, he had a concrete wall with no safety barriers, but that right there looked very, very violent for that wreck.
Yeah, I will battle you, though. It looked like Wayne Lowe was trying to get a little fresh air to the left, and as soon as he kind of snuck to the side, Parker rotated down. Wayne Lowe was straight, and there was just, this is going to be a racing incident between the two of them, and then it just undoes Fike here, and I hate to see that for John Fike. Man, that absolutely obliterated him. Finally, he was getting somewhat of a decent race here, and finally getting a break, and that's just going to, he's done for. I believe that vehicle has been taken to the garage for John Fike. I hate to see that. Grant Turner, I believe he is down pit road yet again for the 9th time here tonight, trying to see if he can get that car straightened out. I don't blame him. Trying to spend as much time down there as he can to straighten that thing out. Already a minute down in the box. He's got to hurry up or he's going to end up more laps down than he wants to be. Hurry.
And Patrick, I'll be honest with you. I mean, yeah, you said that you would battle me on that, and I will agree with you that there was room between Johnston and Wayne Lowe right there. But that right there, I mean, we've seen something very similar to this earlier with I believe it was Jeffrey Israel, when he went into turn number 3 and just misjudged it going into the corner. Maybe Parker may have had that little bit going on where he saw Wayne in his mirrors so far up his tailpipes, I guess you could say, all the way up where the rear diffuser is in these cars. He was so tight on his back bumper that Parker probably wasn't even looking out front. He was looking in his mirror, basically mirror driving, trying to keep Wayne Lowe back there, and he just misjudged the corner and just got into John Fike. That would be what I would think would have happened. I thought Wayne might have got into him, but it just looked like Parker just missed the corner by a mile, watching Wayne Lowe in his mirror. And once again, I mean, John Fike, the unnecessary recipient of that. But I mean, like you said, Patrick, I mean, I agree with you. That's a racing deal, but I mean, that's the only explanation that I could come up with why that happened.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty tough to call out there. We just call it from up here in the booth. But we're trying to give it the best we can, man. But so far, we're looking at about 42 laps left in this one when we go back green. Raider and Dunford look like they'll be the two starting next side by side, the 53 Ford and the 56 Toyota. Right now, Dunford's been doing a fantastic job tonight in that 56 Toyota, moving up 18 positions. Man, it's just so hard to, to keep clean, to stay out of trouble, and man, this is the track to really get it going. Terry out there in the chat, I know, don't say you jinxed it, this race was flying by, but now 7 cautions here, unscheduled at this 1.3 mile track. But somebody, I would probably say somebody's probably really get on edge to win that $30 tonight to be the winner of that race. Remember, top 4 will be battling for the Dash for Cash, which will be starting next week at the Coastal Financial Dash for Cash at the Chicago Street. Then they move to the Atlanta Super Speedway, New Hampshire, and then Pocono. So that should be a good string of guys for the Dash for Cash, probably best out of 4, and they'll let it rip. So we'll see how all that unfolds, and the rules we'll bring to you next week at the Chicago Street Circuit. Let's go ahead and get back to Nashville here, where Robert Raider and Brandon Dunford get away with it again. So the 53 and the 54 getting away, but hey, outside line didn't do too bad with Brandon Dunford in the front.
Yeah, I mean, Dunford was able to actually do a little bit better than some of those other guys that were starting up on that top lane. Trevor Earhart can see if he can try to make a move really tight on Brandon Dunford's back bumper. Raiders just scooting away, Gilbert trying to catch him. Now, it looks like Earhart trying to get around Dunford. That's not going to be able to work for him. He's going to be right back in the clutches of James Loveland and Kevin Orlando. Both of these guys wanting to see if they can try to get closer to the front and give Raider and Gilbert something to fight for. But like you said, Brandon Dunford doing a fantastic job being where he's at. Started in 20th all the way up to 3rd. So that is obviously great. Obviously, Gilbert started in the back. Dunford, one of those guys, started in the back. Here we go again. Trevor Earhart started in the back. There's, 3 guys in the top 4. All of them started farther back than 18th position. That is awesome to see. Some of these guys being able to work through all this traffic and be able to get something going.
Yeah, some of these guys 2x2 starting in the 7th position and on the way back 11th. Where we're back here with Jeremy Burns and Alex Forget. Forget's keeping that low line. Jeremy Burns been actually really quiet this race. He's been making a lot of noise here in this league, battling here in the front. Seems to have no problem staying out of trouble once again. And he's just at the right place at the right time this season. But very, very quiet. Right now, we haven't seen a whole lot out of him. He is down, unfortunately, 9 places from where he originally started this race. So a top 5 start, and he's battling just to get back into the top 10. But in front of him is a 3-wide race. Tay McDonald outside, Forget on the bottom, and now Parker Johnston. Where is this going to go now? As Alex Forget is able to hold it out. Tay McDonald squeaks around the outside, makes the outside lane work, and he's able to break away. So awesome job there by Tay, turning on the afterburners and getting out of there.
Yeah, and it was very, very tight right there with all 3 of them. Forget almost slid up into him in 3 and 4. Tay was able, like you said, put on the afterburners. He's going to see if he can set his sights on Kevin Orlando. Forget was able to get around Parker Johnston. Oh my goodness. Trevor Earhart into the fence head on. Here comes some other guys. Jeremy Burns, one of those other guys that's going to get into Trevor Earhart. Earhart and Dunford, both of them were battling inside the top 5. And wow, I don't know. I mean, Earhart may have came up, Dunford may have came down. But wow, one of those guys that we have seen at the front, Trevor Earhart, who looked like he was going to be able to contend with Robert Rader and Caleb Gilbert in this race. Not going to happen tonight. Trevor Earhart might be done for the night.
These are some of the most violent wrecks I've seen all season. These guys are getting absolutely obliterated here. Let's see if we can take a look. As this battle had been going on for almost 8 laps, so going back up to check on him again. Let's take a look. Earhart touches a little bit of that paint right there. Oh, rotates up. It goes across the nose of Dunford here and hammers the wall. I think this is the part that's the killer. Boom. Now, I would question, we've been talking a little bit about Wayne Lowe. Where was he involved in this? And was he giving a little extra nudge here to the back of Jeremy Burns? Because it looked like Burns was trying to slow it down here. Or how you say it, whoa it up. Let's see if we get what we got going on. Oh, yeah, look. Oh, there's the help. No. Boom. Wow, look at Travis slice through there. Holy cow.
And Jeremy Burns, he looked like he might have been able to save it because, Trevor Earhart looked like he was actually just going to keep coming down the track. And that would have been right there played into Jeremy Burns' wheelhouse because he would have just went around him on the top. Now, then again, you never know where that car is going to go. When they hit the wall, you don't know if they're going to stop. You don't know if the guy's going to hold his brakes or if they're just going to roll it straight down. So, Jeremy Burns had to make a decision on what he wanted to do right there. But unfortunately, Wayne Lowe made the decision for him, tagged him in the back end, and just sent him straight into Trevor Earhart. But, wow. And I know some people may be sitting there looking at Dunford. Wow, he looked like he was pinching him down on that yellow line. Yeah. You could say that, but, it's tight racing. We're coming to 35 laps to go right here to the end of this race. So, it's like I said earlier, and Patrick, you quoted me on it. These guys are getting all they can get right here because they know it's coming down to crunch time right here at this race.
All right, let's see if we can take a ride along with Jeremy Burns as he was trying to avoid this wreck here and see if he had anything. There's Trevor in the wall. Oh, he was setting it up. You can see he was setting up for the avoidance. Oh, yep. My gosh. Oh. Now, Jeremy Burns working his way, and he's still down pit road now. Jeremy trying to see if he can piece that thing back together. Only 27 seconds down pit road, so he is mobile, was able to get back out and revisit pit road again. And try to see if he can square that thing away. Trevor Earhart's night will be over with. Brandon Richardson, he's trying to fix some of his damage. He's been down pit road almost 3 minutes now. Boy, some of these drivers, man, just unbelievable in the amount of damage and things they are doing. We haven't seen Dylan Smoot getting any trouble tonight, but right now he's sitting 4 minutes in this pit box. So he got into some trouble earlier on here in this race. Maybe some contact with the wall and just not exactly what you want here. Travis Gilbert, he clipped a little bit, I believe, of Jeremy Burns. No, Trevor Earhart. That's how the left front fender came off. Oh, and he's having to wait. Oh, man, so that's going to put him another lap down here. Jacob, I've been racing a little bit like that, and when I end up in a situation where you want to exit pit road, I'll just go ahead and exit pit road, go ahead on out there, and you're getting an EOL anyway.
Yeah, you're getting an EOL, but obviously, some of these guys, like you said, I would think, that they would just want to just go ahead and just go on out there and just drop to the tail end of the field. You're going to get the black flag, but sometimes if you're not able to beat that pace car to that, if you're not able to beat the line, then you'll get black flag for that, and then you'll get the EOL at the back, and then you still probably have to let the field go by. So, it's a tough deal. to deal with that right there. But there's been plenty of times I just want to just gas it up and just go, honestly. So,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, that's a tough deal.
All right, let's see how Caleb Gilbert does on this restart here. Most speed guys pit on lap 113, so we're under green and away we go. We'll keep an eye out there to see if Trevor Earhart ends up in an infield car care center for the last of this race here, because he took a hard hit. Speaking of hard hit, right now Grant Thorpe trying to stay on the wall here, as he was 3 wide. Looked like with Alex Forget, who's, you say, full sended onto the bottom, with Kevin Orlando, who's smack dab in the middle. But the 19 machine of Alex Forget breaking into the top 5 here. And let me tell you right now, he's going to be all gas and all go here. I'd be very concerned with a man behind me who's not interested in hitting the brakes.
No, and he has been aggressive from the start. I mean, obviously, had to have that EOL penalty at the start of this race, and has basically clawed his way to this position to get inside the top 5 outside of Jacob Sirkovich right here. Forget, not in any way, shape, fashion, or form wanting to lift. All these guys behind him, Kevin Orlando, Grant Thorpe right behind him, battling it out for 6th. But Forget, this would be the one guy that I would be worried about if I was Caleb Gilbert or Robert Rader or even James Loveland. This is the guy I would be worried about, because he is in no way, shape, fashion, or form wanting to just ride. He wants to get up here, and he wants to be able to get this win, lock himself into the playoffs.
Oh.
He has made some very aggressive moves.
Yeah, Kevin Orlando gets way loose exiting turn number 3 there. Almost slides up into everybody else, and Kevin Orlando now out of the top 10. Oh boy, that was close, as he almost got into the side of Grant Thorpe. You're talking about guys who might be nervous here of Alex Forget now that everything's calmed down a little bit. I would be, if I were Jacob Sirkovich, I would be puckered, as he was all over his rear bumper, triangulated a couple of turns here. Forget breaks into the 4th position. James Loveland will be next on his list, but let's rotate on back where Nick Alves for the 9th position gets over top of Brandon Dunford here. Matthew Robinson, his teammate, he'll be following along with. And so far, it looks like it's Element X Racing and Performance Motorsports here actually really command and conquer this field.
Yeah, Matthew Robinson right there in front of Nick Alves got really loose off of turn number 2. Looked like he was going to try to take a shot at Tay McDonald, but was not able to do that. But wow, a lot of great racing going on all over this field. One thing that we still want to keep an eye on is Forget. He is closing in on James Loveland for that 3rd spot. Really starting to make some headway on this right here. These 2 guys right here, we talked about them earlier in the race. Loveland, which actually won back at Dover. Forget, which was the strongest car at Dover, which was a concrete track. These guys are going at it right here for this 3rd spot. In the back right now, Nick Alves, Kevin Orlando, Tay McDonald, all of them 3 wide going across the line. Orlando went all the way down to the bottom to try to get around both of them. McDonald's going to be up high. Alves in the middle. Alves will back away and get out of that 3 wide situation. Leave Tay McDonald up top. Kevin Orlando was able to get a twofer for some of my buddies out there. Got a twofer on that one right there. And Nick Alves still trying to battle with Tay McDonald. You better watch it. Dunford's right behind him. And looks like a bunch of these guys still trying to catch up with him as they go 3 wide once again. Tay McDonald, Nick Alves. Now Jacob Sirkovich is the one that's in the middle.
Yeah, any kind of twofers out there, man. I would be Nick Alves and want to knock some twofers out. Keep sending me 3 wide. I'm sick and tired of going in at 3 wide. Especially, he was in the middle, then he's been low. So far, Tay McDonald, each time we see him, outside line, but he's able to capitalize. But watch Tay McDonald now on the low line, battling for that 7th, 8th position here. Can he squeak on by? Right now, him and Nick Alves are really trying to put on the pressure, but the rest of this field has got to figure out what they're going to do as they battle it on here in the front. Hey, Kevin Orlando is squeaked away, but let's rotate back up because the battle for 3rd. Here it comes. Alex Forget on the inside of James Loveland. Loveland, oh, blinks out. There he is. Well, looks like it passed. His computer wasn't happy with it either.
No, it was not happy with it. And we talked about Alex Forget being the man on the move in this field, going all the way to 3rd, getting around Loveland. Now, He's going to have to go up against two of the fastest cars in this field right now. Robert Rader, that last lap, hit a 30.050. Forget hit a 30.167. But while he was hitting that, he was trying to get around James Loveland. We'll see what Forget's time is this lap. Robert Rader hit a 30.021. Forget 30.1. So Forget's going to have to find something, because like I said, these two guys that he's chasing, these two guys have been the two fastest drivers all night long.
Only 24 laps to go. A timely caution would play into the favor of Alex Forget now, as he's praying these guys might be able to check up and catch him yet again. Grant Thorpe is sitting with a solid top 5 here. Loveland is 4th. So let's rotate on the way out. 6th position will be held by Matthew Robinson, followed by Kevin Orlando, Tay McDonald. Nick Alves is sitting 9th, and rounding out our top 10 is Brandon Dunford for the moment, as Parker Johnson trying to put a little more car into the side of him here. Both purple cars going at it right now, the 48 and the 56. One Chevy and one Toyota trying to battle for that top 10 spot here. Man, what are they going to do?
I mean, they're going for it right here. They know that they want to try to get every point that they can. They're racing real hard. Johnson gets up into Dunford a little bit, almost puts him in the wall, but Johnson was able to keep it off of him. Dunford able to keep it off of the wall. And these two guys right here, they've had a little bit of, I guess a history, not with one another, but with other guys on the track. Johnston was one of those guys that actually got spun earlier with Matt Robinson, which Robinson is actually running very, very well up in the 7th position. But all of these guys right here that we're talking about, every single one of these guys that we're talking about have had great runs, had some type of incident, some type of problem, but they've been able to capitalize and being able to battle that adversity. And that's awesome to see, especially when you got these guys, like I said, have these little bitty problems, have these little run-ins with other guys, and they're still able to battle back from it.
Yeah, Jeremy Burns, unfortunately, we see these two drivers passing Jeremy Burns as he's now down 12 laps here in the race. You must have been talking back there when Parker Johnson got in a little bit of a tango with actually Brandon Richardson and Chris Schaefer back on lap 80. So those two guys were bumping and banging, and that ended up being the trifecta on lap 80 that caused another caution out there. But so far so good. Alex Forget still off by 2.5 seconds. Couple of drivers that are getting pretty close though, where Grant Thorpe is and Kevin Orlando. I think Kevin Orlando is trying to see if he can sniff out another spot here, but he's having a hard time because Kevin Orlando has Matthew Robinson and Tay McDonald sitting right behind him right now. Matthew Robinson's doing not too shabby here all race, just out of trouble, out of place, out of mind here, but he's got really Tay McDonald who's on a mission as well, trying to follow kind of an Alex Forget's footsteps here and follow in his tracks to see if he can get back up to the front where he believes he belongs, as he started in the front row to begin this race.
Yeah, Tay McDonald, I mean, he got the pole for a reason. He was the fastest guy here at Nashville Super Speedway in qualifying, so he's got a horse up under him. He's just got to be able to navigate some of this traffic, as he looks like he's going to try to see if he could take it to the outside of Matt Robinson. He will not be able to, so he's going to be able to fall back in line. One thing that I have been taking a look at while all of this battling is going on is Caleb Gilbert is actually starting to reel in his teammate Robert Rader. At one point, he was behind him by 0.8 of a second. He has literally cut that in half. So Gilbert starting to put on the pressure right now with Robert Rader. Forget now, he's actually starting to get under fire from James Loveland. So Forget might have actually turned on that heat just a little bit too much. And now here he is, look like he may have burned his tires up a little bit. Loveland going down to the bottom, too wide off of turn number 4. Forget almost getting into the fence, but Loveland give him a lot of room. Looks like Loveland's going to be able to get around Alex Forget, so put James Loveland up to 3rd, Forget back to 4th, and then from there on, Grant Thorpe and Kevin Orlando. That right there is going to be the battle for the top 5 spot.
Yeah, and you got to think about it here. Loveland to have the respect, the courtesy, and kind of sit back in the discipline to allow one of the faster drivers to go past you and say, you know what, I know what my car will do. I'll catch you another day. And just let it happen. Now, if an untimely caution were to come out, this would be it would kind of flip the script. Alex Forget, I guarantee, would come back down pit, throw in another set of tires, but he may fight the entire field. Most of these guys are probably not going to pit, and the tires he had on there are the last set of tires he's going to have for the race. And that's the key, is you got to take care of them here. So Alex Forget during the concrete might have come up and bit him again now as we rotate on back. Let's see if we can find somebody who's trying to take another bite out of a spot. Tay McDonald looking here on the inside of Kevin Orlando. Orlando riding that top line as they dive into turn number 1 here. And Tay McDonald, piece of cake, slides on around the number 27 of Starry Machine, and away they go. So Tay McDonald slides back into the 7th. Kevin Orlando drops to 8th, and we're waiting to find out if Nick Alves can be able to wake that car back up and fight farther into the top 10 here.
And you talked about Tay McDonald. We talked about him a while ago with the speed that he's been able to do. Looks like he actually got into the wall just a little bit off of turn number 4. That's going to open the door for Kevin Orlando. Here comes Nick Alves. You just talked about it. He might not have to worry about the wake up. He's going to give McDonald the bumper, gets into the back of him, and now Nick Alves looks like he's starting to blink out with all the speed that he's got. But wow, Tay McDonald, what a turn of events just in one lap. I mean, that's just how fast stuff can happen here in the Racing Revolution Series, and here how it can happen here at Nashville Super Speedway. Just everything just happens so quick. I mean, you blink your eye, you're going to miss something. And Tay McDonald, very, very lucky that he didn't get in any worse shape on that particular instance right here. Still being able to stay right with Kevin Orlando. We'll see if he can get something going, but Nick Alves is going to give him a lot of pressure right here.
Yeah, taking a look at Tay McDonald there. He is fighting that wheel pretty hard out there tonight. He's trying to keep that thing all in one piece. I do want to rotate up to, I think, Grant Thorpe, who's finally opening it up here. Gets a hold of Alex Forget, passes him, and let's see if Matthew Robinson tries to get another piece of it. Robinson down on the inside. Alex Forget now falling out of the top 5. The number 1 machine. His teammate slides in front of Alex Forget and says, hey, buddy, sorry, my tires are feeling pretty fresh here, so let me go on by. Alex Forget ducks on away down to 6th, and Matthew Robinson breaks into the top 5. Not bad for a 10th spot beginning, and now he's sitting 5th. So good day today for the number 1 Chevrolet team down there in the pits. Right now they're doing something right, but with 10 laps to go, I'm keeping my eye on the number 54 of Caleb Gilbert out there occasionally to see if he's going to be able to turn it on here just a little bit. You were talking earlier before, he's reeling him in, but is he going to take a win away from Robert Rader? Rader actually trying to battle through a bunch of adversity in the beginning of the season. He has fallen way out of the points chase, but he's in the top 10 in the points chase. He's trying to figure out how to get on that top spot that he's had in the previous seasons. But right now, with the amount of talent that's getting out there on the track and pushing and bumping and banging around, right now Robert Rader is getting a handful this season. And right now, he's got Caleb Gilbert on his team here. This might be a wild drive here at the end with only 8 laps to go at the line.
And that's the hardest thing right there to do, is to race against a teammate, because you practice with one another all week long, or however your practice schedule lines up. But most of the time, these guys are practicing all week long. These guys have got the secrets. These guys are sharing secrets from one another. Rader may share some with Gilbert. Gilbert may share some with Rader to try to help one another be able to get to the front. So that's the worst thing that you could really have, honestly, if you're Robert Rader or Caleb Gilbert in this instance, is you're racing against somebody that you practice with. You know their tendencies. You know them, your teammates. So that's the hardest thing. It happens with me in league races on Thursday nights when you're racing against your teammates. You know what they got. You know what that they're going to do. And, you just got to capitalize on it. So, you know everybody's tendencies, but I'm telling you, Gilbert may have something for him, because I'm telling you, he closed in a good bit on Rader, and then he stuck with him. And he's still trying to ease it in there. So, Gilbert may have something for him. I'm like you. This is going to be a wild drive to the finish.
Yeah, and wild turn of events here. Looks like we got some trouble out there with Nick Alves, race control out there. Talk to me. What happened to Nick Alves out there?
Nick was unfortunately blinking in and out in an excessive amount, so he actually chose to go park it himself. We were going to have him give up the 2 positions. It's fine when you're strung out and you don't have pressure on you. We feel bad having to make the call considering Nick was actually on the move going forward, but he's had multiple warnings all race. So tough to do that to somebody, but when you're blinking like that, we don't want any accidents coming out of it or ruining the competition. So.
All right. Well, we'll definitely keep that in mind. We'll tell him to get his toothbrush out and start cleaning off that fiber optic cable and stop using the McDonald's Wi-Fi. What do you say?
We'll see what he has to do. Yeah, the McDonald's Wi-Fi is never no good for iRacing. So going forward, I'm sure we'll get it figured out.
All right. Hopefully he'll find his mouse and tools and be able to fix it. Thanks, Ted.
That's right. Take care, guys.
All right, that was race control. Had to figure out what happened to our beloved number 24 machine. That Coastal Financial machine will be, looks like 17th position is where he'll end up. If Travis Gilbert can get around a few more laps here and get a couple behind him, maybe, depending on when Nick Alves came down, 141. So Travis would have to finish 3 more laps, and that's going to knock Nick Alves down to the 18th position. Right now, we're keeping our mind in the front. Remember, we were talking earlier about Caleb Gilbert catching up. Notice almost a second gap now. Rader's been sandbagging it here to give it a last sprint here toward the end. Many battles out there on the track. I do want to keep another poke in here around that Brandon Dunford, Tay McDonald area. Tay McDonald scrambling to figure out how to hold on to a top 10 spot here. 9th position for him as Brandon Dunford has the inside line. That's not going to keep Tay McDonald from continuing on the outside. He's been very successful up close to the fence.
Yeah, and he is doing all he can, but watch right behind him. Wayne Lowe, we talked about him. He was up front, led a couple of laps, and was actually able to keep pace with the leaders. So Wayne Lowe's actually going to see if he can get something going, move himself up to 9th on the leaderboard right here with Tay McDonald. But up front, I mean, Robert Rader, you called it. Coming to the white flag right here, I told you, I said, you know, it's hard to race against your teammates because you know their tendencies. But I'll say this, Rader might have kept that one in his back pocket and didn't let Gilbert know about that, because Rader looks like he's got this bad boy in the bag.
Yeah, 110% able to drive away with this one. You know that's got to hurt just a little bit here when you get into this one. Right now, he is lining himself up for his 2nd win of the season. Man, he is trying to see if he can find just a little more, but he's going to come to the checkered flag here. Fantastic job by Robert Rader winning the Music City 200 here at Nashville Super Speedway.
Rader put on a great race right there, and you said that's exactly, I mean, we saw it in the points, that's exactly what he needed to be able to pull that off, to be able to get as many points as he can and try to get back into this championship hunt. As you see Gilbert giving him a little bumper tag. Good job, teammate. You got me on this one right here. Maybe I'll get you another week. And then you see Robinson coming up here giving him a little love tap. So Rader, one of those guys that's very, very respected, obviously here in the Racing Revolution series. So, good to see Rader get that win right there, and good to see Matt Robinson get a very good finish. Obviously started 10th, but very quietly comes home 4th tonight. So that's real big for Matt Robinson.
Yeah, not too shabby there. Rader, Gilbert, and Grant Thorpe, 1, 2, and 3. Matthew Robinson sits 4th, and James Loveland falls down into that 5th position. But got to admit, James Loveland making up 8 positions to hit 5th, and Caleb Gilbert back of the field up to 2nd. So that is a great run here by Caleb Gilbert as we take a look at a race winner, Robert Rader, getting it going on here. I got to admit, he's got to be thinking, what in the world, was this the right call? And right now his team has got to be ecstatic right now, nailing a 1-2 finish here in the run. Right now, Jeffrey Israel was able to battle back up to 12th, and Jeremy Burns unfortunately down to 20th position, where you saw a little extra help sent him into the wall. But we'll go ahead and grab some of our drivers down here in just a moment. We'll have a little chat with them and kind of say, hey man, this race was awesome, and we'll be able to talk to somebody from TriStar Motorsports of Grant Thorpe. I'm excited to talk to him a little bit, see how his race went. And, definitely the fuel calculator had plenty of chances out there to stay alive, but man, he got bumped and banged around a couple times tonight. So everybody, hold on just a moment, and Jacob and I will find our drivers. Alrighty, everybody, we have caught up with our third place finisher, Grant Thorpe. Man, talk to me about this race. You were all over the track tonight. Tell me how you were able to fight it back to the front.
Yeah, so I pit early, hoping to just kind of get off sequence and see if something would work out there. So that's kind of what put me in the back. It didn't work out as well as I'd hoped, but can't complain too much with third place finish.
All right, the Dollar General Chevrolet. Man, this is, you started third, ended third. Could it have been better for you?
Yeah, I just needed a couple breaks here and there to go my way. Because I was really hoping for a fuel strategy win there. We were all super close. I was hoping Rob and Caleb battling up there. They're gonna run each other out of fuel, and I was gonna be able to kind of walk away and steal it. But they were able to save as well, more than I thought they were gonna be able to while battling.
All right, I got to admit, you were talking about guys that were close. You were battling back there close with Kevin Orlando for a good while and Tay McDonald. How do you keep the discipline, not, eating the wall, bumping into each other, burning the tires up, pushing a little too hard, and, still maintain enough fuel to come out with a top 3 finish?
Yeah, so I kind of figured out that I can clutch it into turn 3 and not give up a ton of time. I just kind of dump dirty air on them and they get tight so they don't get a run off of 4. And I just kind of maintain through 1 and 2.
Oh, look at you. You realize you just spoiled it. Everybody's now going to know what to do next season, right?
Yeah, they'll forget over the next year.
We'll see. We'll see. I know Rob goes back to previous broadcasts and says, man, what did that guy do, or what did I do to make it happen? All right, Grant, fantastic job tonight, man. We'll see what you can do at the dreaded Chicago Street, man. I would probably say not a whole lot of practice from anybody out there will make enough time to be good there, so hopefully we'll see you in the top. Give me your shout-outs.
Thanks to you guys as always. You always put on such a great product for us. Just really appreciate you. And then really my team. Unfortunately, only Blake was able to make it, and he was kind of out in lap -1, maybe a tenth of a lap in. So that was kind of unfortunate.
I'm showing 0.03 of a lap.
Yeah, so you had a tough time, unfortunately. But yeah, that's all I got for you.
All right, Grant, appreciate it, man, and we'll catch up with you in a week or so here, man.
All right, sounds good. Have a good one.
Take it easy. All right, everybody, that's Grant Thorpe. Looks like I've seen Jacob scurrying down there to get Caleb Gilbert. Caleb had a heck of a race here tonight. Go on.
All right, Caleb Gilbert, this is Jacob Reeves. You got a copy, bud?
I got you loud and clear.
All right, well, Caleb Gilbert, starting from the back of this field, driving all the way up to second. First question I got for you is, tell us about your race with all the adversity that you had to get to drive all the way to the front. Got the stage win, but just tell us about your night. And then right there at the end, did you think you was going to be able to get Robert Rader, or did you know that he was just playing possum right there with you? Because it looked like he was closing in on him. And then out of nowhere, he just turned on the afterburners and just shot away from you.
Yeah, so a lot of fighting through adversity. Went to the back on my own doing the second time on the choose cone violation because I didn't know where it was. So that made things interesting. But that's just keeping the right mindset. Kind of thinking a step ahead of maybe everybody else. If I do this here and, when the next caution comes out, or if we hit the pit, how am I going to, get ahead of a couple guys here and there? I knew coming into this, I was like 18th on speed. And the same thing as last year. I just needed to get behind Rob and just follow him around for a couple laps and figure out what to do. So that's what I did. And then there at the end, he was on 4 tires. I was on 2, just because I figured somebody would take 2. I didn't want to, lose a bunch of track position and then getting all the chaos back there. I saved a little bit. Rob didn't. So I kind of came back to him, but with the tire differential, I got about 3/10 back for a couple laps, and I was like, maybe I'll force him into a mistake, but I had nothing for him.
Yeah, kind of a deal like you did back at Charlotte when you just kept doing the 2-tire deal. So I mean, that's kind of cool on that. But going with these next couple of races, I mean, you got Chicagoland Street Course, which is obviously it's a wild card. I mean, it's something that none of us iRacers, none of the guys in NASCAR, nobody has experienced anything like that is. And then coming after that week, we got the Atlanta Super Speedway. I mean, obviously, I would think that you were more, or that you would be more comfortable with the Atlanta Super Speedway being the oval. But you know, what do you think about the Chicago Street Course? You know, tell us a little bit about that. You know, what do you think you can expect, or what do you expect out of everybody in the league, and what do you expect for yourself?
I mean, whoever puts the most work in over the next week, I know some guys already have a head start on that. Puts the work in, new track, nobody knows it. Everybody's gonna pick up things here and there. Um, for me, I'll put in the work, try to keep the car in one piece. It's a super narrow track in comparison to most road courses. You don't have much room for air. So that not only is your car, but if somebody spins in front of you and you have nowhere to go. So I expect a couple cautions compared to what you typically see at a road course. So that's on the table, and it's just the next couple races. Not my favorites. So it's just survive and advance is all it is.
That's how it always is in Atlanta. All right. Well, Caleb Gilbert coming home second tonight here at Nashville Super Speedway. Give me a shout outs, bud.
A shout out to my team, Jeremy, Rob, and Jeff. Jeff, more bad luck for the guy. I hate that for him. Still managed a P12. Burns got caught up in some stuff of his non-own doings. And Rob, thanks for letting me follow you around, bud. Those guys are great. Brake bias, all that stuff. They help a lot with. Shout out to them. All of our sponsors: SimTrax, Coastal Financial, Bud Kicker, and the one and only Chapman Environmental, first and second here tonight. So, shout out to everybody, especially you guys up in the booth. I know it's been a long one. So you guys talk to Rob and rest up.
All right. Well, Caleb Gilbert coming home second tonight, like I said, and we'll see you next week at Charlotte, bud. Or excuse me, Chicagoland. My bad.
Oh boy.
Woo.
See y'all.
All righty, everybody. That is Caleb Gilbert, the number 54 machine. I would almost want to question if any of these guys would like to trade the number with Jeffrey Israel and just see if it's a bad number choice. You know, try to get him out of the 6 or something. See if we can get him, you know, put him in a 17 or something. Just change it up. Because, man, Jeffrey Israel just getting bashed to pieces out there. But let's see if we can go ahead.
Swap out.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Try to swap out a number and see if we can get somebody else to ride that number 6. But right now, somebody who's enjoying out front in the 53 Ford, Robert Rader, you know, I don't know 100% how I feel about this. Talk to me about this race, though.
You know, I ran the whole race just like this.
Absolutely not. I checked on you earlier. That is a complete lie.
Dude, what an awesome race. I've been practicing all week for Chicago. I haven't run one lap here before we got here for practice, and wasn't particularly fast in practice either. And then the lights came on, and it turned into more of a traditional 1.5 mile kind of feel in the car. And we stomped them, man. I mean, nobody had anything. It was awesome. I didn't see that coming at all. And with the amount of preparation we put in, Burns too, for Chicago next week, hopefully we can come back next week and have a really good run too.
All right. Well, I will be very skeptical to see if this team stays together again for next season, knowing that you guys are starting to already, you know, plan things like that out. But let's stay with this one. Multiple wins on this season now, finally underway. You know, talk to me where obviously you're heading to the playoffs. You know, wins are starting to come. We're getting out of that slump that you had earlier in the season. Were you nervous you were never going to get out of that?
Yeah, it was a really rough start to the season, and it takes a little while to get confidence back up. But I mean, honestly, probably just spending more time in the car over the last week helped, and just being prepared, even though it was a totally different racetrack, and even a different wheel rim that I was running for that. You know, just more time in the car is necessary. The amount of the amount of talent in this league at this point is like it's at a different level than it has been before now. So I think the 9-win seasons are over, but you know, finally getting on the multiple winners list is pretty awesome, and pretty excited about it, especially when I came in tonight thinking if I can finish in the top 4 and put myself in the dash for cash next week, that's a good night. And came out of here with a dominant win is pretty badass.
Oh, yeah. Well, you, Caleb Gilbert, Grant Thorpe, and Matthew Robinson are going to be lined up for that dash for cash. I mean,
Robinson made his way to 4th at the end there?
Yeah,
That's
Matt,
awesome.
Yeah. Actually, he beat out James Loveland there at the end. I mean, that was impressive. He got him. But I mean, is that the top 4 you thought you would see? Following you into the next few races here.
I mean, no. I mean, I didn't think I would be part of that top 4. To be honest with you, I mean, I didn't expect to be there tonight. And then, I mean, Grant's quick everywhere, and Caleb is quick, and Robinson's been really quick too. He's had some bad luck, so I mean, I wouldn't say I'm surprised to see him come out of here with a top 5. But yeah, I mean, there's a list of guys that I would have expected to be in the mix who aren't going to be in the mix next week. And honestly, if it's myself, Caleb, Grant, and Matthew Robinson going into Chicago, at $50 is starting to. I think I can smell it right now.
He's got it. He's calling it out. He says, "Oh, I know where that stuff's going." All right, man. Well, it sounds like you're calling your shot for next week. Man, the Music City 200 is now trophy is going to be in your name, man. This is an awesome job here tonight. But this, I'm not sure, whether it was pit strategy tonight was the key. Was it tire savings? Was it having the right people around you, or just fantastic restarts that you were getting each and every time? But the amount of cautions here tonight, a little unusual here for Nashville. Did that trip you up at all? Earlier in the race.
It almost did, to be honest with you. Those cautions that we got when we were 50 laps away from the finish, 45 laps away from the finish, 39 laps away from the finish. The question was, when do you pit? Because depending on when that last caution falls, you got to make sure you have enough fuel in order to make it to the finish. I know some of those guys pit and took 4. I stayed out. I think 6 others stayed out, which was the right call regardless, I think. But, I mean, if things fell just right for those guys, then I would have been finishing 12th probably. And then at the end there, it went green, and I actually spent the last lap and a half in 5th gear coasting into the corners to make sure I could make it to the finish. Made it back around real gentle and ran out of fuel trying to do a burnout. So it was pretty close, even as it was. So I know Caleb was really close too. I think he ran out as he was trying to make it to pit road too. So yeah, man, just it all fell right. Car was fast. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. It had a lot of opportunities tonight to catch us out, but everything just kind of worked out.
All right, shout out time.
Shout outs, man. All right, Chapman Environmental Services. Got to shout them out. They sponsored the whole league. The reason why we have this awesome Sim Tracks broadcast every week. Got to shout out all my teammates over at Element X Racing. I know that Caleb finished second tonight. He started from the back, won the stage, finished second. He was on 2 tires at the end. I was on 4. I just burned him too hard, and he had an opportunity to get back to me. I was kind of shocked by that, but I mean, he's just nobody picks up on stuff faster than him, I don't think. Jeremy was fast and then got caught up in something, and then you have Jeff Israel, and I mean, he got wrecked on lap -1 this week and came back and finished 12th, which is a pretty good finish considering how it started. So shout out to Element X Racing and everything that we're doing, and hopefully we'll be looking good next week too. But always got to give a shout out to Butt Kicker. Champion gets a butt kicker this year, which is pretty awesome. And then we also have Ultimate Siding and Gutters, and then you have some of these guys who are putting money up for us, who there's a lot of money involved, but they don't get a shout out every week that deserve one. All About Bugs, definitely a lot of money invested in this, a lot of time invested in this. I know Terry watches every race, which is cool. So shout out to All About Bugs. Another big shout out to Coastal Financial. Coastal Financial is sponsoring the Dash for Cash, which there's $200 up for that, so that's pretty cool. $50 a week. And yeah, man, I mean, I could probably go all night, but I think that covers the main ones that I wanted to get out here. Big shout out to Grant too for sponsoring the race tonight, putting money up for the winner too, which is me. We'll just spin that back into the league. But yeah, everybody who makes it go around, everybody who's here. This is the reason why everybody's here is just a really good group of guys.
Oh, yeah. And I would like to personally talk about the Earhart group as well. Appreciate them joining on board as well. They've been doing a lot. Unfortunately,
They have.
Earhart has unfortunately gotten wiped out back there on lap 112 in a wicked wreck that absolutely destroyed him during this race. But fantastic win tonight, Robert, and we'll catch up with you at Chicago Street.
Yeah, good call on the Earhart group. I blanked them. I'm sure Trevor will take that as a slight against him. We'll handle it the next race.
Attaboy. Love the call out. Appreciate it, Rob. We'll catch you next week.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, that is Robert Rader and Jacob. That's going to do it for us tonight. A great race we saw tonight. Once those cautions went away, man, this thing was a piece of cake.
Yeah, it was absolutely a piece of cake. Great racing by everybody up front. We've seen a lot of guys, seen a lot of comers and a lot of goers. Once we got all the cautions out of the way, seen Forget get a lot of runs and then seen him start to slide back. Seen some guys that really needed very good runs. Matt Robinson, one of those guys who got a very good run in tonight. Absolutely, fantastic racing. Grant Thorpe, the master for the calculator, the fuel calculator, I guess you could say, getting in a great run. Loveland, I talked about Alex Forzette. These guys, that we see usually put it to them on these concrete ovals, like we saw at Dover. They were able to do some great racing and do some great things. But the main thing about it, though, Robert Rader, he's going to start getting some momentum now. He's won 2 races already. He's, like you said, he started real bad at the start of the season. Now here he comes. What's going to happen over these next couple of weeks? He's getting some momentum. Caleb Gilbert started in the back, finished second tonight. That team is going to be on fire for the next couple of weeks, and we're going to see what they do riding this momentum.
Yeah, 100%. But everybody here at Simtrax Broadcasting, we will be over at the Doghouse Racing League tomorrow. Next week, enjoy your 4th of July. Great weekend, and definitely want to celebrate our independence. We will be off Tuesday and Thursday next week, but we will still be on Wednesday for the Racing Revolution at Chicago Street. But that's going to do it for us. Patrick Morrison here, Jacob Reeves in the booth. We'll talk to you guys later. Be well, be safe, be kind. See all you guys next time.